Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Darren Whittam, and joining me as always is the Curse of the Covenant himself. It's Master Anthony Chesson. Hello there, mate.
Hello, we're back. Yes.
We're back. It feels like forever.
It really does, God. It feels like we've been away for ages. I thought I was trying to muster a grunt impression, but I didn't. I couldn't get it. I was, from the pangs, I couldn't get it. But how are you doing?
I'm all right. I want to hear the grunt impression, no doubt. Would that be like, they're everywhere, sort of thing?
Yeah, there you go. So you just do it so much better.
Stolen your thunder. You can't do it now because there'll be a comparison going on.
No, you've trumped me, so I'm just
you could ace me though. If you could knock it back.
maybe I'll just drop it in throughout the show somewhere, and then
I think you should.
So you won't know, and then I'll just throw it in. I'm sure we've got lots of Halo news to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely. So what have you been up to in this eternity that we've been away for?
Yeah, so it's like 2 weeks, but it feels like ages. I have biggest news from me is Star Wars. It's going to be the biggest news from the rest of the year is going to be Star Wars. The latest trailer dropped about a week ago, which was that last trailer. It was quite funny because I have said on the podcast that that's it. You know, I'm dark now on Star Wars. I don't want to know anymore. I'm flipping through my feeds, and then suddenly here's the trailer. So I was like straight onto the internet and then watched it about oh god, I don't know how many times I watched it that morning. Gave me goosebumps the first time I watched it, and then I just kept watching it. And have you seen it? Are you weak like me? Have you seen the new trailer?
Yeah, I don't know if it's weak. You know, trailers are loud, and it's I don't know. I don't know anything. It hasn't ruined anything for me because of my avoidance of everything else. You know, I didn't even know. It did make me find out what the Sith guy was called. Is it Rilo Ken or something? Ryo.
Ryu Ken is from Street Fighter. No, it's Rhino. It's
Rhino?
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren, yeah. So I found that out, I don't know, inadvertently from watching the trailer. But that didn't really spoil anything for me. But yeah, I was just like blown away. Like you, got complete goosebumps. Felt like I was just sort of welling up in a wave of nostalgia as it hits that perfect target of our age group. I was just like, yes. Oh wow! And the way that the music swelled as it just like transitioned into the Millennium Falcon flying along that first transition into that bit, and the music came on or whatever it did, and I was just like, oh my goodness me, I love this, and I'm just begging and praying that the film was going to be good, and I'm confident it is going to be. But I remember being just as excited as we've talked about before with the Phantom Menace trailer.
Well, that Phantom Menace trailer, that had them kind of, the opening shot of the Phantom Menace trailer had them just kind of coming out of mist, didn't it? It had Gungans were like the first thing, just kind of walking, and we were all. I remember I was at work when I saw that, and I went ballistic. I was like, "This is amazing! Star Wars is back!" You know, and it stayed like that until we watched the movie, and then it was bad. But you know, I have utmost faith in I've said it time and time again, I have faith in J.J. Abrams that he's going to deliver something that we all want / need. But I mean, there was just shot after shot on that trailer that just looks fantastic, and it did, you know, it kind of filled my head with is this, but I've stayed away. There have been a couple of sites that I go to regularly, they've been breaking down the trailer and talking about it, and I've just stayed away from those because I really do just want it to I want to go in without knowing as much as as little as I can. I want to stay away from everything. So have you booked your tickets?
Yeah, I mean, if the trailer was designed to make you book tickets, I didn't realise that tickets were available until the end of the trailer when it said tickets are available. And I thought, as soon as I watched it, man, I watched it and then I watched it again and then, you know, and again and again. And then it was like, right, I've got to do something about this. I've got to do something positive. I've got to take some positive action here. I'm going to see this and I'm going to get the tickets right now. So I went and booked it, yeah, only at my local cinema.
Right.
So it's still okay. It's still going to be in 4K. But yeah, I booked it. But because of sort of babysitting stuff and that, I'm not going to see it on the day it comes out. I think the earliest screening that I saw was like Wednesday night,
right,
sort of midnight-ish or whatever on Wednesday night. But I'm going to be going on the Saturday morning at 9:15, so I'm going to have to keep probably the heck away from the internet until then, because I don't really even want to see people saying it's rubbish. No. Or it's good. Well, I just don't want to see people saying it's rubbish. If I see people saying it's good, I'll be happy with that. But it's going to be very difficult.
Yes, no, I'm going on like the first day, which is the Thursday. So I'm going to basically from the time I wake up to the time I go and see it, which I think is about 5 o'clock on Thursday. I am just going to, not even look at Twitter, not look at Facebook. I might tweet going, I'm going in, but that's about it. And then the rest of it, I'll just wait until I come out, and then I'll kind of catch up with Twitter after that. But it's just funny, isn't it, in this day and age that we do have to do extreme measures like that if you don't want it spoiled. I mean, if you're okay, if you're not that mad about it, you could just go and just kind of catch the hype. But the one person that we haven't seen in any of the shots apart from that leaked shot or in any of the trailers is Luke. So I don't want people taking pictures or showing that or that breaking. There's obviously a moment, there's obviously something about Luke Skywalker because he hasn't been shown, and I want that to be revealed, and I want to just kind of sit there and kind of cry like a big baby. But I just want that whole moment to just kind of be revealed in front of me. And so it's quite funny actually, because I got quite excited, the shocker, and I ended up booking 3 lots of tickets.
Nice one.
So I'm going on Thursday at like 5 at the IMAX, and then I have Friday is my non-Star Wars day, and then on the Saturday I'm going again to the same IMAX and taking a friend, and then on the Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning I'm going again in a local cinema. So all of them are obviously there's 2 IMAX 3D and 1 3D. So I am just by the end of that weekend I will know that movie inside and out. You can imagine me by Sunday I'll be like a right Force Awakens nerd by the end of that. So
hopefully for the right reasons as well. Hopefully,
yes.
Imagine it if you come out of the first one, you're just like, I've got to watch it twice more. But hopefully it won't be like that. It's going to be. I've not been this hyped up for a film ever. I don't think.
No.
And I'm just so sort of hoping so much. I've got a lot hanging on it. I'm going obviously. The first time I'm going to go with Claire on the Saturday morning at 9:15. So I reckon hopefully we'll have the cinema to ourselves in this backwater that we're in. And then I'm going to take Sam. I don't care. I'm taking him. It's going to be his first Star Wars at the cinema.
Yes.
So I wanted it to be his first film at the cinema, but I've taken him to a couple of others to practice so that I've got half a chance of him lasting. I took him to see Inside Out actually a few days ago at the cinema, and he watched it all. So
that's really
that's
good.
hopeful.
That's really good. Yeah,
because you don't know with little kids. They just go, this is rubbish, I want to go, and you sort of have to go. And that's why I have to see it without him. I wanted to see it with him first time, but sort of the voice of reason with Claire, she was like, yeah, but if he goes mad, what we're going to do? It's like, well, we've got to go, because I'm not going to sit there, ruining it for everybody else. So I had to take measures to make sure that we watch it and thoroughly enjoy it the first time, and then I will take him, and it'll be fantastic. I remember when I was little, my mum took me, can't remember how old I was, but she took me for a double bill, and it was Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back at the cinema, and that was the first time I saw it, I think.
Wow.
And and I remember it, and it was just brilliant. But I was obviously old enough to enjoy it. I wasn't like 4 like Sam.
Yes.
But yeah.
Did your mum go in with you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really
I was
cool.
like 18 at the time. No, I'm just.
Well, I mean, all of the Star Wars movies, every single one, I've all of the original 3 Star Wars movies, I went with my brother. So we went to see Star Wars, went to see Empire Strikes Back at the Elephant and Castle in London, and I remember my mum dropping us off, and then I ribbed my brother on a yearly basis about it. That when we went to see Return of the Jedi, him and his friend, they were all kind of a little bit older than me. My brother's 3 years older than me, and they made me sit on my own a couple of seats down because they were with girlfriends. So I was just I don't know how old I was. I must have been about kind of 11. No, I must have been younger than that. I must have been about 10. And they had like girlfriends, so they didn't want to hang. I wasn't cool enough, so I just sat on the. But I was like, I don't care, because the moment the LucasArts image came on, I was captivated at that point. So I didn't care about my brother being all cool with girls behind me. So I sat there and I loved every minute of it. So I keep ribbing him about that now with the new Star Wars movie coming out.
Yeah. He's the sad one. He might be snugging a girl, but he's missing the film. He's the sad one.
Absolutely. Yeah, he didn't see Boba Fett going down in the Sarlacc pit. Spoiler alert.
Brilliant. Yeah, so, totally hyped. Can't wait. I cannot wait.
I tell you what, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like Boba Fett kind of going in the solid. I would love, I'd love Star Wars to do that Marvel end of credits thing. And at the end of the credits, it just kind of cuts to Tatooine, and you just see like Boba Fett's glove coming out of the Sarlacc pit or something like that. That would just, honestly, I wouldn't move. I'd just go, right, I'm staying here until I get to see that movie. But I would love something like that to happen. That would just be so awesome.
Yeah, people were always raging. I used to get the Star Wars comic when I was little, and everybody was always raging in the letters page about whether or not Boba Fett got swallowed by the Sarlacc monster. And yeah, it's still going on today, I think. I mean, I've never really researched it, but it's still open to conjecture, isn't it, as to whether he got away or not?
Well, exactly. I mean, this is now the Star Wars podcast, but he had a jetpack. He had bombs. Or maybe
but what if he wrapped a tentacle around his jetpack? Or his big Sarlacc tongue?
Yes.
And it burped. It burped as well. It definitely burped, didn't it? As if he'd just swallowed something.
But it was, it did have a hearty meals that day because there was so much. There was Gomorian guards. There was everything falling in.
Yeah. He might have burped him up like some kind of like a fur ball, and it came out, he popped out.
Maybe it was maybe he was full. It's just like, if I've been eating all day and someone says, "Do you want cake?" I'm like, "Oh no, I'll save that later." Maybe that's what's happened, so he can get out.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. But anyway, so back to games. So, what have you been playing over our hiatus?
What have I been playing?
Everything.
So much stuff, man. Super Meat Boy.
Right.
That's a hard game. It's a good game, though. I got bang into Super Meat Boy. I've played it up to... Have you played a bit of it?
I have, yeah. Because it was PS Plus for last month. I've got it on my Vita, so I was actually button bashing today on the way home because I was in London today. So I was like button bashing Super Meat Boy today, and it just it's so hard. The first couple of levels, it tricks you, doesn't it, Super Meat Boy? Because the first couple of levels, you're like, oh, this is cool. I like this. Jump, and then it just gets really hard quite quickly.
Yeah, he like puts its arm around you, doesn't it? It says, "All right, buddy. This is all right. It's just easy jumps. And then all of a sudden it's just like, what? What are you doing to me? It's so hard, man. But it's so good because it's all achievable, and the control system's so good that it is down to you. But it's like proper pixel perfect jumping, like murderous Spectrum Commodore 64 sort of style. It's a good game. Except unlike those games, you don't die, and it's not your fault. It really is. It's you press jump and you jump straight away. But the timing and stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, I've got up to the end, the boss level of the end. Yeah. So I've done the forest.
Wow.
I've done the hospital. I've done what's after the hospital? Hell, and then after hell it's the rapture, and after the rapture it's the end, and the end's a weird level. It's only got like 4 or 5 levels in it, and up to the boss of the end. My goodness me, it's terrible. But I've said that about so many levels through the game.
Yeah.
And it's just... I don't think it's as hard as some of the others, but it actually is. It's got some jumps that are just so ridiculous. So that's as far as I've got. I've been enjoying that. A bit of Meat Boy. Bit of Rock Band 4. Not much to say about that. Just rocking out. Minecraft Story Mode. Episode 1. Played through that. That was quite good fun.
Did you like it? Because I also played, because episode 2 is out now.
Is it?
So
Fantastic.
they released episode 2 either at the start of this week or the end of last week. I don't know. I don't know if I haven't played the final episode of Borderlands yet, the Tales from the Borderlands.
That's meant to be fantastic.
Which, it's supposed to be absolutely fantastic. But I finished Minecraft. And I enjoyed it. But I didn't do the normal thing that I do with Telltale, which is go and buy the season pass straight away. And I don't know what it was. And I don't know if maybe it was just my frame of mind at that point, because I played it in 2 sittings as well. And I just got to the end and I was like, I'm not sure about that. And it was just very bizarre. So I wanted to kind of catch up with you to see what you thought about it, because you're a big Minecraft fan as well. So, I guess there was probably a lot of Minecraft in-jokes throughout the entire first episode.
Yeah, there was. And it was fun, but what I found, and you'll be able to help me here, because I haven't played many, it's been a few years since I played Walking Dead, Season 1, Episode 1, which I quite enjoyed. But I just found that the interaction was, like, really minimal.
Yes.
I mean,
maybe that's
and
it.
I thought, I mean, did you find it more minimal than the usual Telltale games? Because I was like, this is like almost, may as well, this would be something that I would watch on a Let's Play. It was that minimal that I was just like, why am I bothering, you know? And that's, I even like Dragon's Lair, you know? So I was like, this is like, it's minimal. So I wanted to see what you thought about that, because I was just thought, I'm just going through the motions here, or not even that, I'm just watching it. I liked it, just because I like Minecraft, and I'm quite open to seeing an officially approved idea of what Minecraft expanded universe is like. I'm happy to see that. It was all right. But yeah, the story was okay. I don't mind it. I bought the season pass straight away, so I'm going to play the rest to see what happens. But definitely for a younger audience, though the story is kind of too mature for the amount of interaction required, because I'd say the story would hit maybe about 12, say 10 to 14 people, you know, understanding what's going on there. And I think some of the characterizations are quite good. In like, you've got the cool guy who's sort of a coward inside and things like that, and there's a lot of things I think that could relate to real social situations, which sort of teen angst guys could sort of really get involved with. But it's not sort of targeted. If it was targeted, let me put it another way. If it was targeted at the level of the interaction of the game, they could have made it like 3 to 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The story is mature enough to warrant more interaction, I would have thought.
Yes.
And yeah, that was my biggest gripe. It was kind of like, yeah, I was like, was Walking Dead this sparse on interaction? I don't remember thinking that. So yeah, that was my takeaway from it, really.
No, do you know what? I think you've hit the nail right on the head there. I think it is that kind of, because there were a couple of scenes, there were a couple of set pieces where where you're hiding or you're throwing something, but you're absolutely right. That was it, because I'm used to Game of Thrones. I'm used to kind of like say Tales from the Borderlands and the Fables one, The Wolf Among Us. They were quite heavy in interaction where you couldn't take your hand away at any point. You're always kind of there, and I think that's it. Well, I mean, if you bought the season pass, it'd be worthwhile if you give the second episode a go, and then let us know kind of what it's like, whether it kind of ramps up a bit, whether it's trying to just set the scene with the first episode, and then it gives you more kind of playability in the second one. So, did you sit down with Sam? Did you sit down with your son? And play it? Yeah,
and he enjoyed it, and I got him to play it. I played it for a little while. Because he wasn't around, and I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any swearing in it, and there isn't really. Not really. It says crap. That's not really a swear word, but it's not a word that I want my 4-year-old to be shouting around school either.
Walks around school going,
yeah,
crap,
so I just sort of like, if I could sense a word like that coming, I sort of like distracted or coughed over it, something like, what did he say? Oh yeah, he just said that he was naughty or whatever. So I gave Sam the pad, and he played it quite happily, but there's a lot of choices you've got to make. And so what I did, because I wanted this to be Sam's adventure, so every time it came up with a choice, I was like, but it's got a timer ticking down. So I'm saying, right, Sam, so they just asked you, if you wanted, would you rather be a zombie, size of a giant zombie, but a Minecraft chicken or something, or would you rather be a chicken that was a zombie? And it's like, what do you think? And he just kind of went, he gave me an answer, but in the end, he just started saying the first thing I said every time. So I started jumbling up the replies. But he'd always pick the first one I said, and I was like, oh, this isn't working, because he can't read yet. And I was like, I can't fashion your adventure for you, really, because the timer doesn't allow me to explain that the different choices. And I think when you paused it, it was a black screen, so I couldn't read the options out. So, but he did okay in the end. I said, just pick a colour. It doesn't really matter. And he just played it, and he enjoyed it and stuff. And so he's looking forward to the next episode. So that's good that it's out. It hasn't alerted me. I suppose it doesn't do that then.
No, it doesn't alert. You just need to. I follow Telltale on Twitter, so that's why I found out they. I think it shocked a lot of people. It just kind of came out quite quickly, and yeah. So you just need to go to the store. You'll see probably like install over episode 2 rather than buy, because you have the season pass, and then you're good to go. Yeah,
I mean, I liked that. As far as choice and consequence is concerned, it looks like it's going to be very diverse in the way that you could I mean, no spoilers, obviously, but there's a point at the end of the game where you make a big decision about where you're going to explore. And if the second episode follows that decision, then from the hints it's given there, you're going to go on two completely different and distinct paths from that point at the end of episode 1. So that's quite an interesting mechanic that they've thrown in there, and I don't know if they've done that in other Telltale games where it's just so diverse. It's chalk and cheese, you know. It's like, are you going to go to the west or are you going to go to the east, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. So it's okay, and I'll obviously, because I've got the season pass, I'll have a look at season 2 and I'll report back. But it was all right. I'm happy to watch it. It's more that you watch it than play it, I'd say.
Yes,
more so than anything I've ever played, I think.
Yeah, and it looks good. I mean, because like Tales from the Borderlands looks fantastic. You know, it's very kind of Telltale game, but chugged every now and then. And I wasn't noticing any chugging with the Minecraft one, so it looks fantastic as well. So
yeah, it does. And I got it on Xbox because I feel that Minecraft's home is Xbox because Microsoft bought Mojang.
Right.
So yeah, you know, I think it's pretty good. So what else did I play? Rock Band 4, Super Meat Boy, Minecraft Story Mode, Halo 5.
Oh, Halo 5 Guardians. Have you finished the campaign?
Have you played it?
I have, yes.
Yeah, I finished it an hour ago.
Wow. So your brain is still processing the ending, still kind of going through what you've just played. Yeah,
it is to a degree, yeah, and it was hard.
Yes, the last couple of levels are incredibly hard. I know Nicola and I, because we co-opted, we a single screen each co-op online, and the last one had Nicola swearing quite a lot. So
the last, what was that with the 3 Warden Eternals?
Yes, yeah, where you're in that arena running around.
My goodness me! I got so angry I was going to quit and sell it. It got me that frustrated. I really was getting angry. I didn't shout.
You were going to break the disc and post it back to 343
and say cheap boss. Do you think? I think it was a cheap boss.
Wow, do you really think so? I thought it was quite hard. I thought it was.
No, I think it's absolutely ridiculously solid, and that's why it's a cheap boss, because it's not very good from a creative point of view.
No.
It's like you fight him once. I found that difficult, right? And then it's like, well, right, so a few levels later, you've got to fight 2 of them or something. You definitely fight more. And then it throws 3 at you. And I was just like, can't we just have some variation in bosses?
Yes.
It's just like, they've thought of one boss, and you fight him each time, but you just fight more. I didn't like that design at all. And it wasn't just because it's hard. But the hardness felt worse because it was so cheap.
Yes, yeah. Although I see what you mean there, but yeah, it was. I mean, so with your brain still freshly processing, and what are your thoughts on Halo 5 Guardians?
Okay, well, I can only comment on the single player campaign because
yes.
I haven't played online multiplayer because I deemed myself as not worthy until I'd done the campaign.
Right.
So campaign on heroic, on my own, because I thought that was the way to play it. Though from the difficulty, especially like that 3. You know, you against 3. The AI, your mates aren't that good when you're on your own.
No.
As you said to me, and you're absolutely right. It's very frustrating. You can sort of tell that it's designed for human co-op there.
Yes.
Because I bet you me and you would be all over that easy.
Yeah.
You know, because
I mean, I think 4-player would be amazing, because there were times when Nicola and I were both down and Fred was just standing there, just
you're going, come on!
And I'm pressing X, going, get me up. And he's just like, it's pretty here, isn't it? You know, that's it. You know, it's just. So, yeah. So, was it hard then on your own?
It was absolutely solid. The first time I met that Warden guy, I think I texted you and I said, this guy that you got to hit in the back, he's solid. And you were like, yeah, just get a good gun and stuff. And I persevered. And I sort of thought, how could you do this? And it was just so hard to get round him because he's got such a wide angle when he hits.
Yeah.
And anyway, I defeated him. I was like, yay. And then he came along again. But that last one, as I say, we're talking Demon Souls, or maybe worse than Demon Souls. It's like a really, really hard. And it's not made any easier to bear because it's just a repetition of something you've already done. But it's just like, we'll just add another. Yeah. You know, what's the next level going to be? We'll have 5 of them now. That's pretty hard. You go, yeah, it is pretty hard, but it's not very enjoyable to play.
No.
So,
But I think the worst thing in that last battle is when you're down to 2, those lasers come in from the top.
Oh yeah, the turrets.
I was just like, what? I mean, in the end, I think Nicola and I, we ended up going through that about 7 times, I think. And in the end, I started having a pass. Like, I run to the back, I grab the rocket launcher, take that one out, run round. You know, and I really started. It was following it by numbers towards the end, and it was just, you know, try and just run round, you know, get whoever up and stuff like that. But I mean,
at least you had Nicola to sort of tag with, though, man.
Yeah. I mean, that was great. I mean, like I say, we're sitting next to each other. You know, got our own screens. Hilariously, kind of not really, but at the end, when the game finished, so we got to the end, got to the final bit. You know, just as it was about to go to the final cutscene, I got kicked out of the game. So I went back to a black screen and it just said session has ended. And I was thinking, please, I was like, I was just about to get my achievements for like heroic on co-op, you know, all of that. And then quickly with kind of Nicola's, we invited me back in, and I managed to watch the final cutscenes on her smaller TV, and then I kind of joined after that, and then while the credits were rolling, it started to pop the achievements. So it was I breathed a sigh of relief because I thought I'd have to go for that last thing all over again.
Whoa. Oh yeah, I can totally sympathise with that. When you said the turrets appeared and that was a nightmare, it was a nightmare, but I was elated because I'd got a checkpoint.
Yes.
After killing the first guy.
Yes.
So I was just like, oh my goodness, at least there's only 2. And because I'd done that, it gave me the sort of the positivity, if you like, the will to carry on.
Yeah.
Because I took so long with the 3 of them. Because it's just like, your wingmen, they're no use. No. You couldn't send them to distract the other guys or anything. And you've got 3 of them, and if it's not one of them doing one of those big black sort of dark matter balls at you, another one's firing that orange laser at you, and the other one's got his sword right next to you.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh man, this is ridiculous. Really ridiculous. But I did it anyway. And after that, I was convinced that was the hardest bit, and I was thinking the rest will be a bit of a walk, and it was.
Yes.
So it's just like, oh yeah, cool. It's giving you some nice vehicles to play with, and just went done. So yeah, it was cool. So yeah, I did it on heroic. You did it on heroic, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. Because I think I said in a previous podcast, so that's kind of what 343 and Bungie have always said. That's how you play Halo. You know, you play Halo on heroic. That's how Halo should be played. You know, that's it. That's the setting. So we always kind of play our campaigns on heroic. But overall, you know, kind of final boss aside, what are your thoughts? You know, especially being kind of fresh off. For me, I liked it. It was a good story. It was a good game. I wasn't sure it was a good Halo game, if that makes any sense at all. My problem, and Nicola's problem in a big way, was that she just wants to be Master Chief and kill grunts and kill Covenant, and both of those things are very sparse in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's 15 missions, the game.
Yeah.
2 of which you just walk through from point A to B, and it says mission complete. Mm-hmm. There's no shooting in. That gives you 13 missions. You play as Master Chief in 3.
Is that
of those?
Is that the math? So yeah. Yes, wow.
So whatever 3 into 13 is,
and
you know, just like 20. It's not even 20%, is it? Maybe about 20%. Your Master Chief. So it's as if, for me, it's more like like you say, it is a good game. And sometimes there were moments when everything was just coming together, and you're ploughing along, shooting sort of like battalions of Covenant, and the music's swelling, that fantastic music,
yes,
from Marty O'Donnell, and it all comes together, and I was like, this is amazing, this is gaming.
Yeah.
But those moments were just fleeting moments, and really Halo should have been more that, you know, the majority feeling like that. You know, once you enter that sort of state of gaming euphoria, you should have been in there, and that's what Halo is for me. I remember, I mean, if I want to put them in order, I mean, there's Halo 1, I loved that game. I think Halo 3 I probably loved the best.
Right.
Then I'd say Halo 1, then I'd say Halo 4, then I'd stick this one, Halo 5,
right.
And I didn't like Halo 2. That's just me ranking them. But
what about ODST and Reach?
I don't count them because there's no Master Chief.
Right.
So, and that's what I'm saying about this one.
Yes.
For me, it's almost one of them. So I almost shouldn't have got it. And I'm so glad that you said that, because for me, Halo is about Master Chief, and they're so obviously and
well, we've heard previously for you, Halo's all about you and that love interest with Cortana, So, and I was thinking about that while I was playing it, just thinking, both of those things are just not there. I mean, I have to say, there were some bits in Halo that I just sat back with my TV and I just said, that is the best thing that I've ever seen in gaming. There was this one bit where you're fighting the Covenant on a kind of dusty planet, and the Covenant were coming in and out of dust. There was like kind of sandstorms almost, and they were coming in and out of that dust. And I sat back and I just said, I've never seen anything that good on a video game. That was, for me, it was just the pinnacle of graphics at some points throughout that game, and it just looked stunning. It looked incredible. It plays so well. It plays really well. I just wish I could and I don't know what it is. What it is about wanting to see that green armor. Wanting to just hear Master Chief's voice every now and then. But that's what you play a Halo game for. You're right. Maybe this should have been called like Halo Locke or something, or Halo Team Osiris or something like that.
Yeah, I think if it had been, it would have been. I'm not saying that it's deceitful, because I think they were pretty upfront about that at the start. But they said that they did say it was going to be the most amazing Halo campaign yet. I don't know, and for me, it's not. And I found a good article from Time magazine where the guy basically he wrote a critique of the game, saying, "Yeah, well, I don't think it's that great for pretty much the reasons that we're saying." That it should all be about Master Chief and stuff like that. And he wrote a good article, and Frank O'Connor, who is one of the development guys from Halo, I think he might be the main guy, over at 365 Industries, replied to his critique and gave him his input on that, and he basically said that it's fair enough, and he agrees in the article. And he says that he understands that a lot of people want Master Chief. And he gives a good point of why. And I thought I sort of resonated with this a little bit. He said that you play a game and you want to be a hero. And Master Chief, really, if you strip him down, there's not much to him. Which is pretty true if you just look at the sort of the game, And he says, but when we sort of superimpose what we want Master Chief to be from ourselves to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's sort of like a blank canvas, and so for every player, I think that's the same for a lot of protagonists in games, especially first-person shooters where the protagonist doesn't really chat. I mean, look at Gordon Freeman, for instance. So he said, and that's why probably a lot of people are gutted about it. And he says that he understands that, but they made this decision to do it anyway. And he goes on about it, and I'll put the link in the notes. But for me, it's just sort of. It's so obvious that they're just trying to split it away so that they can just carry on with the franchise and blossom it into so much more than it is at the moment. They're making a concerted effort not to be sort of weighed down with Master Chief and Cortana. And this is what they're doing, isn't it? They're trying to break it away, and they're trying to open it. They're trying to get the fans involved and interested in other characters. And as I say, there were moments that was really fantastic, but never at one point did I care about Locke or his mates. I've never got into the wider story of Halo, because I want the story of Halo to be delivered in the main Halo games. I don't want to have to go and watch an anime or get a comic or get watch a third-rate video to find out story. I don't mind that being there, but I don't think that should be necessary to then go into the game and understand it. And it's like, oh, well, if you read all this, then you'd understand it. I think for a AAA title of a franchise as big as this, your main story should be in the game.
Yes.
And that's where I sort of get the hump with Kingdom Hearts as well, bringing out all these spin-offs and stuff. So I just discard them personally, and I'm just like, well, 1 and 2, I agree with, and then 3. But the thing is, if 3's going to refer back to all these other spin-offs, it's kind of, well, for me, it's sort of dead before it started, because I'm not interested in such blatant sort of just trying to make money out of it. So yeah.
I mean, like I say, it's kind of it's a bittersweet one, because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Nicola and I, we played it on the Tuesday night when it came out. We played it on Saturday in the morning, and then we played it on Sunday. I think we were about sort of level 8 or something like that, and I just said, right, let's kind of finish this. Let's finish the fight. Let's do it. And we just sat there and we just spent the rest of the day just playing Halo. That was it. And we had, when we finished, apart from being kind of kicked out, I did enjoy. I had enjoyed myself. I had a really good time. But it was kind of almost like when it finished, I was like, yeah, but Nicola was kind of saying all the way along. She was like, where's Master Chief? Why are we just fighting the Prometheans? Who are really hard to fight as well. Those new red guys, they're really hard to get. Why are we always? Where's the Covenant? So and then there was a point where we went onto a grassy planet. There was the Covenant. She was Master Chief, and she was like, "Now this is Halo." And just those 4 things for her. That's what Halo is. And that's what Halo is for a lot of people. But like I say, I enjoyed it. It looked awesome. The sound was incredible. It was rattling around our surround sound, and we were just like really enjoying it. Apologies, neighbours. But we were really enjoying it. We had a really good time. But it was just a case of, you're right, there was some extended story stuff that I had a quick chat with James as well, because he finished it at the weekend, and he was saying that some of that stuff was in graphic novels, was in books and things like that. Because there was a whole point at one where the Arbiter and Locke, they had this whole thing like, not you again, that type of stuff. And I was like, they've never crossed in the games that I've played. They've never crossed each other. Where's the backstory there? And also the way that Halo was sold, Halo 5 was sold with all those adverts. They were like, they had that whole Locke and Master Chief adverts where they kept switching them around, and there was all kind of you let us down and you betrayed us, and I didn't get that from the story. I didn't really get the effort that they put in that advert. That didn't transpose into the story.
Yeah, it all went over. The story pretty much all went over my head. And I started to feel like, am I thick here? And then I just thought, I don't care. The answer there is probably yeah. But
there was one point, I think, kind of about level 10, I just laughed at, we were it was a real kind of big battle, and Nicola and I, we just laughed at each other. We have no idea what's going on. But we were just...
It's big elaborate conversations going on. You got that Golden Biggles guy, who's like a Cortana guy. I was like, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. In the end, I just didn't care. I just called him the Biggles guy. And it's like, this... And the ending, I just sat there and I thought, is this supposed to be emotionally engaging? Is this supposed to have an impact? Because I am meh.
See, it's really funny because when I saw the ending, again, no, we won't spoil it, but when I saw the ending, I just kind of thought of you, and I thought you'd be sitting there, tears running down your face, and I thought you'd be like...
What, about anger, frustration?
Yeah, probably.
And maybe that's underwhelmedness.
Maybe you and I should have a game, maybe we should play through it again, maybe...
I'm happy to do that.
Because I said to Nicola, though, what Nicola does now is she plays it on the hardest level on her own. That's what she...
Legendary.
Yeah, she legendaries the campaign on her own. Wow. Just because I'm a liability when we're on legendary. So she does that. So, and sometimes things like that, such a complex story, maybe makes sense on the second playthrough.
Yeah.
I've played multiplayer as well on Saturday and Sunday morning. Sunday morning, for some reason, I was up ridiculously early, so I sat listening to a podcast and played some multiplayer Halo because no one was talking. So I just kind of stuck a podcast on and started playing the multiplayer, playing Warzone and Warzone Arena. Really enjoying that. There is the 12v12, the 20v20. It's fantastic. You get the AI in the middle. It's a really good multiplayer fun fest. You just kind of maybe your team's kind of dropping in points. You can't get to a base, so you can go and take out some AI. When the AI drops, that gives you more points. I do think I said kind of time and time again, if there was a group of us playing, I think that would be fantastic because you could get really strategic with Warzone and Warzone Arena. It's really, really good fun.
And this is the thing, it is so playable, the controls are so good and it works so well, and the new controls and the new mechanics, once you got used to them, it's fantastic. It's tight, isn't it? It works so well. You're fully in charge of your Sparta. You are fully in charge, and you can... It's a bit like Super Meat Boy in a way. It's your fault if you make a mistake because the controls are tight. You can do this dodging and stuff, you can boost. It's fantastic. So I think that after this, I'm disappointed with the story. So I might have to just abandon the story, and it'd be like, for me, this would go to Call of Duty land, and be that the campaign is going to get, maybe it'll get more and more inconsequential, and the game is, because it's so good and so playable, and this is what they're trying to do, and they're trying to get an esport out of it as well. They're concentrating on the multiplayer, and that's great, and I bet it is fun. But my question is there room for people, well, like me and perhaps yourself, is there room to play Star Wars Battlefront and Halo 5 multiplayer? You know, have we got time? Is there room for these two games? Are they too similar? Or do you think they're different enough that you could fancy one or the other?
I think
does one trump?
Yeah, no, I think it's probably down to who you're playing with, because if there's a night where you're saying, "Oh, do you just fancy a game of Halo?" and you go with your friends that way. But I do find occasionally, and I did this before Halo comes out, sometimes I just need to play Halo, and sometimes I just need to play Halo, and so the multiplayer is great for that. We're going to get free maps as well, so 343 are going to be delivering free content for a while, with free kind of, so they're going to keep the map rotation quite fresh, so that's going to be an interesting one. And I probably jump in every now and then, but I am expecting games like this just to kind of drop off my radar once Star Wars comes out, because I enjoyed the beta so much. It's such a great game to play that I'm looking forward to just kind of jumping in kind of both barrels on that when it comes out. So maybe Halo will take a backseat when that comes out.
Yeah, and as happy as we are, and we sort of know the Halo universe now because the franchise is in its 10th year or so, maybe even more. We know that, but we don't know it, and it's not as under our skin as Star Wars. The lack of split screen was disappointing as well, because I remember playing with my nephews when they were very young on one of the Halos, and I think it was the last level of Halo 3, which I absolutely love, where you're in the Warthog.
Yes.
And the tiles are falling down, and you've got to do that jump just before the time runs out. I love stuff like that. I don't care if it's fixed, so you always do it within 1 second. I just love it because the music's there. Actually, a comment I wanted to say was, if the game was as good as Marty O'Donnell's score, then I'd have been in floods of tears at the end of that game, because it would have been amazing. But yeah, the lack of split screen, I didn't realise, and I was like, Sam was there, and he went, it looks good, this spacey game. He went, can I have a go? And I said, yeah. I said, what I'll do is I'll put it on easy, and I'll get us a car, and I can drive and you can shoot, or you can drive and I can shoot, and it'll be fantastic. And then I was like looking around for the option, and then I was like, hold on a minute, something in the back of my mind here. And then I was like, oh yeah, they took out split screen. And I was disappointed with that, and I thought I could see why they did it. I presume that they did it because they wanted to hit 60 frames a second. But I would have been happy for them to just drop the frames per second, or even the resolution, if you decided to pick split screen. And I think that I think 343 realised that, so I think they're going to consider that for Halo 6, because they've sort of commented on it. Frank O'Connor again. Incidentally, just to let you know, he's the franchise development director of Halo, and he mentioned about that he said that those people are saying, "Oh, can you not give us a patch for split screen?" Unfortunately, he said that it's not something that they can just patch. So that's a shame, because I thought when I saw some flutters on the internet saying, "Oh yeah, they might patch it in," and I was like, "Oh, that'd be so good." But yeah, he said, and this was on October the 31st, Halloween. He said, yeah, for Halo 5 it's not something we can do. It's not feasible with the way the engine works. And he says, split screen is fun for me too. It's not something that I object to, and they would have loved to have put it in. They'll talk about it for the next game and for the future, but it looks like it's not going to go with Halo 5, which is a real shame, because I was looking forward to that, because I remember thinking back to playing with my nephews, and that was fun. But it's topped the charts, hasn't it?
It has indeed, yeah. It's sold, in the UK alone, I couldn't find any US figures, but in the UK alone, it's sold 7.7 million sales in day one.
Wow.
So on day, that is great. It's quite interesting how it's outsold the Master Chief Collection by 50%.
Yeah.
So I mean, Master Chief Collection, kind of a 3.3 million sales. It was quite good on day one, but this is like 7. And again, this is just the UK, but 7.7 million pounds in the UK on day one alone. So that is just fantastic. And I must admit, I was out with a bunch of guys for lunch yesterday, and a lot of them were going, ooh, Halo's out, I might buy an Xbox at the weekend.
Wow. So that's the power of Halo.
It really is. That is the power. And I was saying, well, you should have done that before now, and you could have got the Master Chief Collection, and you could have built up. But I have to say, hats off to Microsoft and 343, because that opening weekend, the Tuesday, everything ran smoothly. I was there at midnight on Tuesday. I sat there with my Xbox waiting for it to unlock, and I unlocked it. And the first thing I did was just kind of jump into, because Nicola was like in bed for hours, I jumped into the arena, had a quick go of the multiplayer, had a quick go of that. I just wanted to see it. I just wanted to be there and just kind of, experience Halo with everybody else on Twitter and stuff. And so I jumped into Warzone, had a couple of games of that. Seamless, it was straight in, it was nice and quick. And then I was thinking, over the weekend it might be a bit dodgy, because that's obviously everybody will be playing that then. No problems at all. Obviously, I got kicked out on Sunday once, but we played a lot of hours. I played a lot of hours of multiplayer, and I've had no problems. And matchmaking's been really quick. So, hats off to Microsoft there, because they've definitely learnt from the issues that they had with the Master Chief Collection. And I think we can kind of put that behind us now, because Halo 5 was seamless.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And as you say, hats off to them for delivering a fantastic, fully finished end product. It also sold 50% more than Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and that's a multi-format game. So that's an impressive stat as well.
Absolutely. I'd be really interested. Obviously, they're just for North America, but I'd be really interested to see the MPDs. I mean, the next couple of months, we should be seeing Microsoft trouncing PlayStation 4, and we should be seeing, Halo, Forza, Tomb Raider, those games, they should be top of the charts. I'd be interested to see how well Fallout does, but I'm expecting, these are the couple of months where Microsoft can really kind of get the jump on Sony, or try and catch up to Sony, I should say. So it's going to be interesting to see just how well Halo 5 has sold.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because it's done now it's done for me now. I've played Halo 5. Obviously, I'm going to play the multiplayer a lot. But that's it, the story. We got it done in a week. We came out on a Tuesday. By Sunday, we're finished. So it's really funny how I've gone back to Destiny. So and I have to say, they really do feel alike.
I was going to say, even more than my Star Wars Halo is there room for. I mean, really, surely you're going to have to pick one out of Halo 5 and Destiny.
Well, multiplayer, because Destiny, for me, Nicola's not really into playing the multiplayer, but she likes playing Destiny, so she likes doing the quests, she likes doing the weekly missions, so, for me, that's just kind of gaming time with the two of us, so, I'll kind of split my time up, I'll do that, I'll do a couple of hours of Destiny with Nicola, then when she goes to bed, I'll play Halo 5 multiplayer until the early hours of the morning. I'm trying to convince my brothers to get an Xbox. One of them has. My brother Colin got an Xbox this week, which is really cool. Oh. He actually got the Forza Special Edition Xbox, and my lord, does that Xbox look lovely. So he got that. He was a bit shocked when he realised that he had to download 43 gigs worth of Forza 6 before he could play it, because the Special Edition just comes with a code. And his broadband's not as good as mine, so I think he'll be playing it maybe next week sometime. Yeah. But his console looks lovely. So I'm trying to convince them to, and just trying to get people together to kind of. I'd love to experience a full team, like you and I, Darren, and some other guys, just try and get a full team for Warzone, because I reckon that would just be so much fun.
Yeah, well, I'm going to jump in now that I've done my.
Awesome.
Sort of cut my teeth on campaign and proved that I'm worth it. It's sort of like the boot camp for me. But I'll tell you something I forgot to say. Here's an option. You were saying about it will work in Tickety-Boo on launch, and that's fantastic, and it did for me as well, with one caveat, 9.7 gig or whatever it was of update. Now, how about this as an option, Anthony? Okay. I wanted to play campaign straight away. How about this as an option? If you only want to play campaign, click this button and we won't download the update now so that you can play the game straight away, because the update was for multiplayer.
Wow.
But you still had to wait. I mean, I had to wait. It wasn't that. I mean, I planned it in advance, so I did it in the day. But imagine getting home and finding it on the mat, after a hard day at work, getting at 7 at night or whatever, and then you have your dinner, you don't think about it for some reason, then you put it in, and your broadband's not great. Or what if you're on one of these, limited packages. I thought about that. I was like, isn't a limited package usually like a gig or 2 gig? I mean, you can pick it, but what if you're on 2 gig a month? Yeah. It's like all of a sudden you're getting hit with nearly 10 gig in one update. And for me, obviously, it wasn't that, but it was just the time. I was like, you know, when you get a game, you want to play it there and then. I was just like, just give me the option. I mean, you probably could have signed out of Live and done it that way. But I think that if it's definitely all about multiplayer or something like that, and they usually are, so it's downloading lots of content that you're not going to initially use, just have an option there to say, no thank you, I'd just like to play the game I paid for on release day, before midnight please. So yeah, I'll just carry on with that, and then we can do this, we'll talk about this another time, or just download in the background, please.
That's what they should have done.
Don't force me to do it. Apart from that, though, I'm right with you. It was really good, but 10 gig, man.
Oh, but even worse than that was the people that were in the preview program. Microsoft released an update on Halo launch day. There was an update to the NXOE on that day. So luckily I was working from home, like waiting for Nicola to get home on the Tuesday. So I just updated both of our Xboxes. You know, I kind of went to the kind of, check for updates, updated the Xbox, and just kind of made sure that everything was good to go. So it was just, it was touch and go actually with Nicola's copy of Halo 5, because hers didn't install. So I had to delete it and start again, and I had a bit of a packet loss on my download. So it was really chugging as well, because it was about 40, I think it was about 50 gigs to download the game. And it was really chugging, and it was getting close to the wire. That was a game in itself, but once it kind of went down, I made sure everything was updated and patched, and it was good to go.
Wow. So my if I was going to give it a rating, there's been a lot of 9s. I'm seeing a lot of 9s on the internet for this game. They probably take into consideration the multiplayer component, which I've yet to experience. Yep. But I'll give the campaign 6.
Wow.
But I'll give the graphics and sound and playability, which is all the bits that they're all the bits that you use the most in the multiplayer. So I'm giving it a 6 because of the damn story and the length of the campaign, which is very short, and the lack of Master Chief. And for, like you say, it's not really a Halo game because they're trying to diversify. So points off. So I'll give it a 6. But I imagine in multiplayer where none of that matters, and it just matters about how you play it, and the graphics and the general playability and the maps and stuff. I imagine that's where the 9's coming through. Yeah, but for me,
absolutely.
And it's a shame because I'm a campaign boy.
Yeah,
but campaigns taking a back seat more and more, isn't it? I mean, these franchises they are what they are because of the campaigns, but now multiplayer is taking over. Oh, look at me whining! I'm an old man. I only like campaign because then I can be the hero.
But with Halo, is Halo 6 the last one, or was 5 the start of a new trilogy?
No,
I can't
4
remember
was
when...
the start of a new trilogy. I think.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
it was because it would be, wouldn't it? Because you got your first trilogy supposedly with 3.
Yeah.
And then, 4 was the start of a new trilogy, so this was the midpoint. So it's the end of the second trilogy, but that doesn't mean that it's the end. And, it's business, isn't it? So Halo's never... Yeah. In fact, Phil Spencer was saying in an interview that I read, he was talking about Halo lasting for, generations, like years and years to come. Our kids playing them. So there's no intention of ending it.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that, if the game's good and everything. It's just a shame about... It's just not a fitting way to get rid of Master Chief and Cortana, I don't think not that they have been got rid of, by the way, there's no spoilers there, but you sense because of the focus on other characters that they're trying to sort of shift them out of the limelight. That's what I'm saying, listeners. I'm not saying that anything bad happens, and I wouldn't have been able to do the podcast because I would have been in floods of tears.
It's like Darren can't make it this week. He's emotionally distraught. But I played ODST multiple times. We played Reach a lot, and I enjoyed those games because I didn't go in going, right, we're going to be Master Chief. I went in because I knew we were going to be those different fire teams, and I was happy to kind of do that. But there was just something that was a little bit. It's hard because I enjoyed it. I love it. I think like I say, I'd like to play the campaign again, but there's something amiss. There is just something that amiss, and I think it was just the fact that we weren't Master Chief all the time, you know, and also you got the loadouts of the UNSC guns, and they run out quite quickly, and so you end up just using Covenant guns or Promethean guns quite a lot as well. I mean, and some of those are incredibly sexy, but I just like my gun, you know. I think that's the problem. We've got to that point now that it's kind of a nice pair of slippers, isn't it? You know, that's what you want to do. You know, you kind of see a Halo game coming out, so you want to do this. You want to be Chief. You want to see that green. You know, you want to kind of equip that gun. You know,
you want your assault rifle.
Well, exactly. You want your assault rifle. You want your Magnum. You know, and it's like, or for Nicola, you want your sniper rifle. You know, and it's just that's it. You know, and I think it does make me laugh how we have been conditioned, but. I mean, the kind of cherry on the cake for me when Halo arrived, because I downloaded Halo digital copy with me, but in the post that day was the Elite Pro controller. So that rather swanky kind of controller that Microsoft have released. So that turned up on Halo launch day, and oh my god, that controller is lovely. It's got weight. It's got weight. I took the paddles off just because I wanted to just jump into Halo. I took the paddles off the back just because I can't get used to those at the moment. I need to just kind of, you know, have some alone time with it. But it's got weight. It feels incredible. I did the thing where I closed the switches, so it meant shooting was a lot kind of quicker. You know, not that it made any difference, but it felt really good to play, and I just absolutely love that controller. It is just it feels I don't know, it feels high end, you know. It feels special. The weight that's to it, the rumble, I've got the default controllers, but I did put the high thumbsticks so that I've got the rounded pad rather than the D-pad, and it just feels lovely. It's such a great feel to the controller, you know, the material that the controller's made of and the rubber grips. It's really funny because whenever I finish playing now, because it comes with this little carrying case, so whenever I finish playing, I kind of unzip the carrying case, I put it in, I zip the carrying case up. You know, I'm being really kind of gentle, really precious with it. But it's absolutely fantastic, and it's a lovely piece of kit. I think they're sold out. I don't know how many they made or how many they released, but I know looking at Amazon the other day and the Microsoft store, they've sold out. So they're waiting. All of them are waiting more stock. So whether they didn't have a lot or there is just kind of a lot of people have been chomping at the bit for them.
Wow. Well, it's a high-end item, and it sounds like it's up to mustard with yourself. It feels like a high-end item, does it?
It does. It feels high end. The buttons, the clunk, you know, the way
the switches, high quality switches, yes. And the feel of the buttons when you press them, and the triggers and stuff. Oh, it sounds nice.
Yes. The circular D-pad. I want to play Street Fighter. Can I get Street Fighter for Xbox One? I want to play Street Fighter because I reckon
Street Fighter 4's that. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe I'll have to wait till 5.
I'll be able to. Isn't 5 on PlayStation 4 only?
Oh yeah, it is. It is actually.
Damn you, Capcom!
The only time that you could actually do a damn Dragon Punch.
I would be awesome.
There's not a Street Fighter to do it with.
I would be doing roundhouses.
Did you try to do those moves with the 360 controller, man? It was ridiculous.
Oh, it hurt my thumb.
It hurt my throat from shouting when it didn't execute properly, and I got killed.
Oh, I need a game like that now. I need to find one. But the bittersweetness of this high-end, beautiful controller is I plugged in. Now, it has that 3.5mm jack on there, you know, which Microsoft are touting. You know, you can plug any controller in. So I plugged my my Bose sound cancelling headphones, which I play on Xbox. On PlayStation 4. When I was playing on Star Wars Battlefront, and I plugged them in. No sound. Oh. So on PlayStation 4, I use them for sound. I use them for talking when I'm playing on live. They're just lovely. I just love the feel of them. I've got a big head. So because if you remember from a very early podcast, I bought some Turtle Beach ones, those expensive, but they kind of squish my head a bit. So if I'm playing for a long time, I love my Bose sound cancelling. And So I plugged them in thinking that they would work. No sound at all. Now, they worked on my previous Xbox controller, my day one controller. They worked with that little dongle. But plugging into the 35mm, nothing at all. So I was expecting to be able to talk through them. I was expecting to hear through them. Nothing. So I had a chat with Microsoft support, and they just said they're not compatible with the Bose headphones.
Whoa! Not even that there'll be an update.
Not even that there will be an update.
That's you just pulled the rug from under me there. I was just waiting for you to say there's going to be an update, but you'll have to wait, and that's bad enough.
They shut the door on me, and they shut the door on me. It was a chat on support, and they even finished with, "Is there anything else we can help?" Because they were like, this conversation was going nowhere.
Yeah. You weren't finished. You weren't finished, but they were like, "That's it."
I think I said the same as you. I was like, is there going to be an update? And they went, nope, it's not compatible. They went, try some Turtle Beach. Plug those in, they work.
Great. What about the £300 I just spent on these to use with my high-end item?
Yeah, exactly. And these are, like I say, on the PlayStation Network. I just plugged them into the controller, and I'm talking. And when we played the Star Wars beta, I was using those then, and it's just lovely. They just are really comfortable, and so I was really shocked. I mean, it's not the end of it because I have those Turtle Beach ones, but like I say, if I play for more than 2 hours, my head hurts because I would like them to be able to open up maybe just a half-inch more, and then they would be perfect headphones. But at the moment, they're just a little bit kind of squeezing my big head, my big melon-sized head. But so I was just like, oh, okay. And then I tweeted to a friend of the show, AC Bongos, just to ask him if he knew anything, but he never replied. So I guess what I did at Gamescom, he just still hasn't forgiven me.
Yeah, it must be something to do with that. Oh my god!
When those police were called, and then the ambulance, and there was so he hasn't replied. I was just like, is this true? Is that it?
I wonder if there's a licensing thing that you have to pay Bose to use their hardware with your stuff. Maybe Microsoft aren't paying that. I don't. There must be something. There must be something there because it's just a jack.
Yeah.
You're just plugging your earphones in or your headphones in. It's really bizarre. I'm shocked. I'm shocked it doesn't work. Because that's something that you just take for granted that would just work.
Absolutely. I mean, I even because for the day one controller, in order for me to talk on Xbox Live with them, I had to buy, because these are iPhone headphones. I had to buy the Android version of the lead, so you plug that into your controller and you could talk away, on the day one controller. So I even tried that lead as well. Nothing, no sound at all. And that's my go-to when I'm playing early morning or late at night. I used to just plug it into the day one controller, and off I went. I didn't have to plug headphones into my amp or to my TV. I just plugged them into my controller, and that functionality has just been taken away by a controller that cost me £120.
Wow, it saddens me that.
It's really bizarre because I was thinking, because they made a big thing going, yes, we've added a 3.5mm jack. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try. I found a pair of out of the box iPhone headphones, so I'm going to see if they work. Because I won't wear them because I don't like putting stuff in my ears, but. We'll just have to wait and see, But I'm going to just try and find a pair of headphones that work, but it's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one. It's sort of, but the controller works great if you're not using those headphones or incompatible headphones. It's a shame because it's sort of taken the icing off the cake, really.
Oh, absolutely. It really put a dampen on that gorgeous controller because I can't go back to the other controller. So I'm in a real pickle. I either have a squashed head or no sound. So
that's really bad.
And with wanting to play Halo with you and and all of that sort of stuff, I'm gonna have to I'm just either gonna have to try and find an answer or just have my melon squashed.
Someone will. You're twisting my melon, man. Someone's going to work it out on the internet, man, and you'll be able to do some shifty wiring from one jack to another jack.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to do it. But I was going to say about the style of the controller and sort of the swishness of it and sitting there with it. This Elite controller, it's not a controller you so much use; it's a controller you wear.
Oh, yeah.
You're almost wearing it when you're playing because it's that cool.
I'm walking around town with that little pouch. I'm looking cool.
Fully Patek of controllers.
I'm loving it. And I must admit, because I got ginormous hands as well as my big head, I'm painting a really interesting picture of me this week on the podcast.
Wow,
people
if I
who
hadn't
haven't
met you,
seen me,
I think you were a giant.
Yeah, big head, like Hagrid from Harry Potter. But I do like the raised thumbsticks as well. They're quite nice. They kind of play, but it just plays so nice. The controller just feels lovely. Playing Forza or playing Destiny or Halo, it just feels so lovely. It just feels nice.
Yeah, if it's the best controller of if it's the ultimate evolution of the Xbox controller, which it is, it's got to be the best controller for me because I love the offset thumbsticks anyway. That's only on Xbox, but the D-pad's always been a downer. So if they fix that and you've got the offset sticks, I don't use the headphones, so I'm sort of liberated from that issue. But I'm glad it's good, but I'm sad it's bad.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, it was quite interesting because when I went to Gamescom, I tried. I had a demo of the controller, and I got a couple of the D-pad kind of little tchotchkes, and I had a Forza 10, and I've got Gears. So when I was this sad, right, Darren, I was just so sad. When I played Forza, I took off the default one and I put the Forza 10th anniversary one on there. I was just like, yep, that's right. This is what I'm playing. And then when I finished playing Forza, I just took it off and then I put the other one on, and it just when you put those D-pad things on and the controller, it just the way it just grabs it just says give us it here, and it just locks it into place with a magnet.
I was just going to say, is it magnetic then?
Yes,
so it's clunk click.
It really does. Yeah, it feels akin to when you're putting a power lead to a Mac. It just kind of that kind of grab, and it feels like that. You don't feel like you'll tip the controller up and they'll all fall off. It is something special, and hopefully, someone on the internet will be able to kind of work it out so I can use my my Bose my Bose headphones as well.
Well, fingers crossed. So I think we've run through my list. What else have you been playing?
That's kind of it. I've played Destiny. They had a fantastic Halloween thing going on where they had little quests that were in the tower. You could have like a pumpkin head, like a jack-o'-lantern head. You could have, you were just collecting candy from all the people in the tower. Destiny just really did kind of do a celebration week that was really cool. And I finished Uncharted 1. So finished that. What a great game that is. It was I really enjoyed it, and I'm straight on to Uncharted 2.
A ripping yarn.
A ripping yarn indeed. I loved the last level. I loved the kind of the way it finished, the way the story finished. I was playing it like kind of on a Saturday morning or something like that, and I finished that, and I just went straight into number 2.
Lordy does the best one as well.
Yes. Oh god, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It starts off with that train wreck where you're kind of climbing the train, which was just fantastic.
Iconic start. Yeah.
Yes, it was really, and there's a really cool stealthy moment where you're going through, and I'm kind of a couple of chapters in, and I'm really loving it. There was a big twist in 1 which I didn't see coming for some reason. I was like, whoa, when that happened. I was like, Keanu Reeves, whoa. I didn't see that coming, which was really good, which was that kind of supernaturally side of it. But I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving it. It's really good. And I do like every now and then it's compares me to other players. So there's one of the guys on my friends list. He's also playing the Uncharted collection. So I think it's Imagine Dragon. He's playing it as well. And so every now and then when I do a headshot, I'm kind of going above him. Then he goes above me. So we're kind of doing this like meta game between us, and and it's just really good. So it's just like number of takedowns, number of headshots, and they just keep showing you this leaderboard every now and then when you're playing it. So I really enjoyed that. I don't know if that was in the original Uncharted games, but it's fun.
No, I don't think it was. I like that. It reminds me of Need for Speed.
Yes.
That I used to play.
Yeah, so it's really good. So I'm playing that, so I'm on to Uncharted 2. So I'm trying to get that kind of done before Fallout comes out next week.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad now. I've got Halo out of the way. Meat Boy, I'm happy with the amount of time that I put in with it. Rock Band's an ongoing thing anyway, so it doesn't matter. So really, I've only got Metal Gear. Actually, I've still got Bloodborne on the list that I didn't complete. But I'd like to get through Metal Gear, so I'm going to put some time in for that if I can between now and Fallout Day next Tuesday. I got my bobblehead from Game today.
Oh, superb! Was that like a pre-order bonus?
It was a pre-order bonus. If you pre-ordered the Pip-Boy edition,
yeah, I
think it was just for the Pip-Boy edition. You got a Pip-Boy bobblehead.
Wow!
And it's pretty good. It's about 5 or 6 inches high, and it's good quality. It looks exactly like him. He's doing his little thumb up, and he's got a bobbly head, and it's pretty cool. So that was good. The only thing was, I was thinking, I thought they delivered the game early.
Oh, really?
it was just the bobblehead. So that's cool.
You get a delivery from Game, and you think, yes, I've got the game early, and then it's just a bobblehead. So have you got him on your desk? Is he rocking on your desk right now?
He's not actually. He's in the kitchen where I left him. He will be up here. He will be up here soon. I was going to do an unboxing, but I thought it'd be a bit boring. I might do an unboxing of the Pip-Boy edition.
Oh, that would be really cool. I'll be very interested to see that and see you kind of rocking it with your phone.
Yeah. So
when does the app come out? Does that come out with the launch of the game?
I don't know, and I'm worried. I hope it works with my rubbish iOS because I've only got iOS 7.
Right.
On my old iPhone, because I'm waiting for an iPhone to come out that I'm happy with to buy. I'm not going to go on about all that again. So I'm praying that it's going to work on iOS 7.
Wow.
It must do, because the form factor of the iPhone 4 will fit the glove, or the Pip-Boy. So
yes.
We'll see. Anyway, I'll be finding out soon. So all I've got to do really for me to be at peace with myself, if I can finish Metal Gear Solid by the time I get Fallout, I'll be a happy man. I'll consider my backlog pretty much up to date apart from Bloodborne, but I will get to that. But yeah, I'll be happy, and then I'll move on to that, and then it's Tomb Raider, and then it's Star Wars, blah, 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 blah. And so you're okay, because Destiny can just go on and on and on.
Yes.
Uncharted, you'll just go through easily. And then and so you'll be sweet and happy too.
Absolutely, I can't wait for Fallout on Tuesday. I think I might work from home that day.
I hope your boss isn't listening.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So let's start the news section. And in this week's news section, you can earn money whilst playing the greatest games lineup of this fall. We have hot news about the Nintendo NX, and Activision buys the Candy Crush Maker's King for a ridiculous amount of money. First up, our first news story is with me, and that's what I was talking about earning money whilst playing this greatest games lineup ever. So Microsoft, they've titled this. I don't know what they're going to do next year, because they've got some really good games coming out next year. So they're going to go, it's even better lineup. So this is the greatest games lineup in Xbox history, and you can earn rewards for playing them. Now, we've talked before on this podcast about the Xbox Live reward scheme, and if you aren't a member and if you're on Xbox Live, we will stick a link to the place where you sign up in the show notes, in the podcast notes. So go there and sign up. It's free. But what's happening over all of these great games that are coming out this holiday season, this fall, this autumn, you'll be able to earn rewards. Now, so what you can do is, for each game, you can earn between 3,000 and 6,000 rewards. But what Xbox are doing is, if you buy all of them, they're giving you some additional rewards. So if you digitally download, or if you buy any of these, you will be able to get 3,000 points for rare replay. Bargain. That's like giving you an extra cake on top of a cake. so you get 3,000 rewards for rare replay. You get 4,000 for Gears of War, 6 for Forza 6, 6 for Halo 5, and 6,000 for Rise of the Tomb Raider. So all of that is 35,000 points. Or it's 25,000 points. So what they do is, if you buy all of those titles, you then get an additional 35,000, which takes your rewards up to 60,000 credits. And that roughly equates to $60, £50, £60 UK, $60 US. So by buying all of those games, you're going to have enough Microsoft credits in your account to buy another game. So if you bought all of those, now this promotion is running between now and January 7th, 2016. So you probably won't get gifted those until after that. But if you think about it, there's a whole new game for free by buying those games. I mean, I've bought all of those. Now I'm going to Rise of the Tomb Raider's already kind of pre-ordered and ready. So I've bought all of those. So I've got a whopping 60,000 credits coming my way.
Cool. Could you just run through the games list again? Because I bought Rare Replay. I just want to, and I'm going to get Rise of the Tomb Raider. And I bought Halo 5, so that's 3 that I've got.
Yep. So if you kind of buy or pre-order one of these games, you get Rare Replay, and that's 3,000 credits. Gears of War Ultimate Edition is 4,000 credits. Forza Motorsport 6 is 6,000 credits. Halo 5 is 6,000 credits, and Rise of the Tomb Raider is 6,000 credits. As an added bonus, if you buy all 5 totals, you'll get an additional 35,000 credits, which takes it to a total of 60,000.
Wow, that's really cool. It's really cool for you because you wanted all the games.
Exactly. For me, as an Xbox fan, I play PlayStation as well, but all of those games just tick all of my boxes. I have just I've pre-ordered, downloaded all of those. Nicola's got. The only one Nicola doesn't have is Rise of the Tomb Raider and Forza Motorsports on hers. So
none of those are available on PlayStation anyway.
No, they're all Xbox exclusives.
I mean, Tomb Raider is, but it's a year away.
Yes.
So whether you like PS or what, if I wanted those games, the only place to get them is Xbox.
Yeah. So that is fantastic. So, by just buying those, 25,000 credits was about £25, which would give you kind of a half off a game. But if you buy all of those, you get that extra bonus, and then there is a free game. So whatever game is coming out in February, there's some big games coming out in February. If you think about it, that's like Quantum Break for free.
Yeah, or Until Dawn, if that's probably not out on Xbox, but yeah. Quantum Break will do.
Yeah.
And that I like the way that it's not making. They're all good games. They're all games that I would not imagine. They're not rubbish games.
No,
they're all good.
No, absolutely.
These promotions like this usually happen, and I mean, unfortunately, I'm not into Forza, but if I was. That's like a proper good game, So they're not just slapping this reward if you buy stuff that they're just trying to get off the shelves. They're a last-ditch attempt to get rid of it. These are games that would sell on their own. Yeah. These are games that would sell on their own anyway. So it's nice to add that reward to games that are good enough and of a standard that people will buy them anyway. So people could be surprised, like you've helpfully let people know here. And a lot of people, if they've got good taste in games, would probably have that collection like yourself anyway, all lined up. And then there you go. They're going to get an extra game out of it.
Yeah. So if you bought them before, obviously before now, they will kind of just retroactively credit you for those. So the Rare Replay, the Gears of War, Forza, all of those that are obviously out before Halo. If you've already bought them, already got them rocking on your hard drive, then they're going to give you the retroactively kind of credit you for those games as well. So it's just fantastic. I think that's just a really good. I mean, they've done it a couple of times, haven't they? With Arcade, the Summer of Arcade over on Xbox, where if you bought 4, you get the last one for free and things like that. But as you say, there's a game that you wouldn't really buy, but because you're getting something free, you just kind of chuck that one in as well.
Yeah, sort of Zone of Enders with Metal Gear Solid demo scenario. But yeah, it's a nice thing, isn't it? It's a nice thing, and I'm registered for that, so I might have to actually look at my email that I get because I usually just delete it. I'll have a look and see what it says.
Yeah, I mean, even when Minecraft came out, I had like £4 sitting in my sitting on my wallet. So I just kind of bought, I got like Minecraft for, the Minecraft story mode. I got that like for half off, and it was really cool. I just every now and then get surprised by there's some money sitting in your Microsoft wallet.
Yeah, because you get rewarded every time you buy a game. It doesn't have to be on a special offer. You do get something for everything you buy, don't you?
You do indeed.
My only bugbear with the thing is that you have to sign up. I think that if you pay for Xbox Live, you should automatically get signed up for this.
Yes.
Because unless it's changed, I read about it and then I had to find it and then sign up for it. That was a little while ago, and it wasn't that intuitive, easy to find. And I just thought, why are they doing this? Because when I was reading it, it's like you get Xbox rewards, you buy these games and you get points. And I kind of automatically thought that I'd have that because I was on Xbox Live, and it was only after reading the entirety of the information that I realised it was like, oh, hold on a minute, no, you don't. You have to actually go here and do this and fill this in. And I was like, oh, okay, couldn't they just have done it?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and that's why what we'll do is we'll stick that link in the show notes. So there is, because you're right, I think it was buried. I think I got it from a Major Nelson link once, but before then I didn't know anything about it. So let's stick it in the show notes, and people can kind of grab that there.
Yeah, and hopefully we can increase some people doing that, because if you're going to buy a game, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's physical or digital, once they know that you own it, you get paid for it, don't
yes.
you? You get a bit of money. So it's well worth doing. And that's the reason it's so strange that they don't just automatically do it, because it kind of would just be nice.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so, and fans of The Last Guardian, don't worry about lack of footage over all these shows and conferences and events over the last few months since E3. There's a reason why it's been held back, and our good friend Shuhei Yoshida from Sony has explained to GameSpot why. He was questioned on it, and basically he said the reason, in a nutshell, is because it's a story-heavy game, and they don't want to give too much away by showing too many clips, which is fair enough. The quote is from Shu himself: development is going well, but because it's about the story, we don't want to show too much. We wanted to show that it exists and it works and it runs. It's not like we won't show anything before launch, but that's launch, not lunch. Anything before lunch. I want to see some more before lunch.
I want to see some Last Guardian with my breakfast, damn it.
Never mind lunch. So we won't be showing anything before lunch or even launch. But I think we will try to limit what we show about the game, and I think that's a good strategy.
Yes.
Keep it quiet, keep it under wraps. Yeah, that's good. It's good to hear from him saying that, because you could think, oh no, what's happening? Has it gone back into development hell after them showing us it? And it's probably still not going to arrive to it did say 2017, I think, if I remember correctly, on the E3 announcement. I wouldn't be surprised if that slipped. But at least you're thinking, oh, well, we've had all these Sony things. We haven't seen anything. So why is that? Oh, I'm getting worried. Shuhei. There he is. He said it. He said, we want to keep it under wraps because they don't want to spoil stuff. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. I mean, absolutely. I think for people, for me, and probably for you, Darren, as well, we just want to see it running. We want to see it looking lovely. We want to just see someone controlling it, or maybe just kind of hands-on, that little kind of opening demo, just so it's real, just so it's happening. Then absolutely, I'm happy for that, go dark on that game after that, because like you say, you don't want it spoiled. It's probably worthwhile noting as well that while we were away, Sony did announce that June 2016 is the launch month for No Man's Sky.
It did indeed.
We have No Man's Sky. We have a launch month. So I was still expecting the Paris Game Show. I was expecting them to say, and it's available now. I was waiting for that moment. It was just like, oh, by the way, one last thing. If you go to the PlayStation Store now, you can download No Man's Sky, and I would have just lost my mind.
Yeah, flown to that app and downloaded it straight away.
Absolutely. Item number 3 on our news is that we got free games. It's the start of the month again. It's the 4th of November, so that means free games. So we have
free games. We've got no time for free games.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't give us free games. We're buying loads. So yesterday, we're recording this on the 4th of November. So yesterday was the 3rd. We had the PlayStation Plus games and a nice bevy this month. We've got Walking Dead Season 2, so the entire season. So if you're kind of multi-platform like yourself, Darren, you can now, you should have bagged Walking Dead on Xbox Live.
I have
played that. Then unfortunately your save won't carry over, but then you could then play Walking Dead Season 2 on PlayStation 4.
Wow.
Oh, it's those decisions that you make, though. That's the problem, and that's why I rebought Walking Dead Season 1 and 2 on Xbox One, because I was they're bringing out a Michonne add-on very soon, and I wanted my any decisions made in that to kind of carry over. So that's why I kind of bought them and replayed them.
What happens if you launch into an episode, like 2 or 3, but you haven't played a previous episode? Does it assume some decisions for you?
I don't know. I've never been that crazy, man. What are you
reckless?
What are you talking about?
Can you even do that? Does it say you are forbidden to play episode 2 until you've played episode 1? Do you remember Mass Effect 2? If you hadn't played Mass Effect 1, it had you had a conversation.
Yes.
As you were travelling in it, and Commander Shepard sort of related to the past, and you got to pick key decisions as a part of that conversation to tell the game what you would have done. It sort of said, and he hesitates, and he said we left him on the planet or whatever, and you'd pick one, and that would be the way that the game would accept what had happened in the past. So I wonder what happens, because I was just going to say, it's like I remember everything I did. And then if it's got some kind of thing like that on PS4, you could put them in that way, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely... I mean, between 1 and 2 on Walking Dead, there was something called 400 Days, and it was a one mission... It was a one-off story, and that did count to Walking Dead Season 2. And, you know...
Did it count in a big way, then? Because, like, a lot of people then will... If they're just getting it... Now they may miss that. So unless it comes as part of the bundle,
just the choices you make at the end of Walking Dead 1 in this 400 days build the group of people that you kind of you use the group you're with in Walking Dead Season 2.
Oh, sorry, seasons. I thought you were talking
No, seasons.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah,
so, PlayStation Plus, so we've got Walking Dead Season 2, a must for anyone who's ever kind of wanted to dip into any of those Telltale games. See, Walking Dead Season 2 was fantastic. You know, there were some very uncomfortable moments, some very squelchy moments, some very amazing moments, some heartfelt moments as well. I'd say it's a great game. It really is. We've got Magicka 2 on the PlayStation 4. We've got an awesomely named game called Dragon Fin Soup, and I had a quick Google of Dragon Fin Soup. Now that's PlayStation 4, PS3, and PS Vita. And Dragon Fin Soup is from their website, and I quote: "Dragon Fin Soup is a seamlessly blends genres to create a fresh experience, half story-driven tactical RPG and half high-stakes roguelike with a pinch of crash humour and a heaping helping of murder and madness, set in a procedurally generated fantasy world." Now, if that doesn't get you kind of diving to the PlayStation 4 and downloading, I don't know what will. But it's worthwhile noting that procedurally generated fantasy world is on the back of a turtle. So it just gets a bit crazy at that point. I don't know whether they're smoking over in Sony, but then there's this giant turtle and your world is on the back of a giant turtle. Looks fantastic. Looks great. I'm definitely going to play this on my Vita.
Wow. The intelligent people would probably say that's a bit like Discworld.
Yes.
But for me, anything on turtles makes me think about Golden Axe.
Yes.
Do you remember that level?
Indeed.
And you jump on the turtle and you cross over the ocean on the turtle's back. Wow. So it sounds pretty good, actually.
Indeed. I mean, are you watching Walking Dead at the moment?
No, I'm not. Where did I get up to? Season? I don't know. So no, I'm not.
Right. The latest season, they had there was this horrible bit in it. There was this little turtle kind of walking across the road.
Was it a zombie turtle?
No. Oh God, that would have been so awesome. But there was a little turtle walking across the road, and there was a girl that was really hungry. And next thing, you just kind of cuts to. And I was just like, oh, that went wrong quite quickly. So anyway, we've got Dragon Fin Soup. Fantastic. Looks good. I'm going to download that after the show and play that on my next trip into London. So hopefully I'll have a report back next week. Mass Effect 2 is coming out on PlayStation 3. Beyond Good and Evil is also on PS3. So they're the two kind of PS3 titles this month. Good titles.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing value.
It's if you've got a PS3, you just download both of those. Do you know what? When I saw those, all I thought was, God, I wish PlayStation had backward compatibility, because I would love to play Beyond Good and Evil again.
Yeah, apparently it's not going to have. Shuhei Yoshida said that on Twitter in the last week or so. He did a bit of a Q&A.
Right.
And what somebody said, will it have backwards compatibility? And he said no. Which is a real shame. It's a real shame, because they could do something with PlayStation now. But yeah, you told me those games there, because I like to hear them live off you. And,
yes.
I would look down yearningly at my PlayStation 3 that's in bits because it's got that yellow light of death, my old fat backwards compatibility, it's PS2 emulation one with the Emotion engine. And it makes me think of bolting it together for that and Shadow of the Colossus. Maybe it's worth it.
Yes, absolutely. And then the last title for the PlayStation Plus is Invisimals, which is for PlayStation Vita. And that kind of rounds out November. So those titles, they're fantastic games over there on PlayStation Plus. It's quite interesting because, I went to lunch with a group of guys yesterday, and we were talking about consoles, and a lot of them are going, which one should I buy? And I was talking about PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, and they didn't realise that they got free games for it. They just, I don't want to buy that. Maybe I won't play online. I was like, no, but you get free games. And then I was kind of telling them some of the games that you got on either PlayStation Plus or Xbox One, and then they were just going, this is amazing. We really didn't realise that this was a thing. And when I started telling people about backwards compatibility, they were just absolutely sold. So it's interesting because these guys were all kind of like previous generation, but they just haven't dipped their toes in this generation and didn't realise what was happening, and so it was quite an interesting lunch. So over on Xbox land, obviously we double dip in Xbox because of backwards compatibility. So we have Funoma is out now on Xbox One, and Dirt 3 is out on Xbox 360. So both of those are going from the 1st of November. Funoma is from 1st to the 30th, and Dirt 3 is from the 1st to the 15th. For the rest of November, from the 16th of November, we have Night Squad. Night Squad looks a little bit like Gauntlet. If you kind of have a look at the trailers for that, it kind of looks like a bit of a kind of a Gauntlet style. They call it multiplayer swords and silliness action game, which is Night Squad. That looks quite cool. And over on Xbox, the round out November is Dragon Siege 3. So Dragon Siege 3 comes out there, and both of those games, both Dirt 3 and Dragon Siege, if you bag them on Xbox Live, they will become available in your backwards compatibility queue when all of that begins rolling out, I think on the 12th of November. So backwards compatibility is going to go live for everybody, not just the preview people, but live for everyone on the 12th of November with the new NXOE, your favourite, Darren. And then you'll have things like Dirt 3 and Dungeon Siege and all those other games that you've been bagging will all appear for you to download.
Yeah, that's really good. And fingers crossed for everybody that's keen to play Fallout 4 on Xbox One, the NXOE doesn't cause it any problems.
That's so close, isn't it? November
sure
12th.
It won't. Yeah, I mean, you can imagine it would have been if the one game that they make it work with, it's got to be that, hasn't it?
Yes, it's got to be that. I mean, the Halo.
Sure, it will be fine.
Like I say, NXOE, I've been playing Halo, and it was absolutely fine. No problems at all.
What format have you plumbed for Fallout?
Xbox.
Oh, excellent. So we can discuss that. I've gone for PS4.
Right.
Doesn't really matter. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. I'm pretty sure I've got PS4, so it'll be interesting to you'll be able to report on whether it gave you any frustration on launch day of getting it. The day after launch day of the game.
Yes.
See if it gives you any aggravation.
No, I got that because, and I'm also disc-based as well, because Nicola really liked Skyrim, and obviously this is by the makers of Skyrim, so if The Witcher 3 doesn't gel with her over Christmas, then she can play Fallout.
Yeah, that's a good call. It's funny because, Bethesda, Skyrim, and Fallout, they're so different.
They really are, aren't they?
But I mean, they're in a big expanded open world, but yeah, the universe they created for Fallout, I've never known anything like it as I stepped into it in Fallout 3. And because I've never been really much of a fan of the 50s style, but that game grows on you and it gets you into it, and that's the sign of a good game. Something that you don't, I mean, I say never been into it, never really had any reason to, I'm not a child of the 50s. But you start to like it because of the game. It's like I started to like skateboarding because of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and things like that. Obviously not the last game. But that's the sign of a good game, isn't it? So I can't wait to get into that universe again. I love that 50s retro future.
Yes.
It's cool. yeah, is that all the games then?
That's it. That's
it.
our kind of new games. Lots of new games. Like I say, you probably won't have any time to play those new games with all the new games coming out.
All the real new games.
But bag them anyway, because when you've got that kind of, it's always worthwhile just going in, whether you go to the PS Plus web page or you go to Xbox Live web page and just hit, buy, and then you can just get them whenever. As long as you just claim those titles within that month, they're ready to go anytime.
Yeah, I always find it difficult to get to the UK store. It always seems, I don't know if it's a DNS thing or whatever, but I always seem to get to the store.us rather than store.gb whenever I try to get there, and I'm always faffing around trying to get to the correct link. I get there eventually, but I always have the same rigmarole. I really should save myself the favourite, but I do it on the iPad.
Yes.
No excuse. Can still save the favourite or save the link. But yeah, I'm always dithering around going like, I'm in the US store. Maybe I can order it from the US store. I'm not sure. I don't think you can.
No.
You need to do it from your locale. But anyway, yeah, so the next item from my good self is about the but not really, but the battle of the consoles, if you like, but it is sales, basically, console sales of the current generation, and the PS4 sales gap widening as time ticks on. So the Q3 stats have been released for the estimated worldwide shipments of the current generation of consoles, and it's quite shocking. I mean, I know that from what you read, PS4 is ahead and everything, but I never realised that it's quite as stark as this report shows you. Basically, it's in worldwide shipments in millions, and you've got the PS4 for Q3 is at 4 million. Xbox One, there's a bit of uncertainty, so they've given it some leeway. It's in at 1.97 million, and the Wii U at 0.72 million. But yeah, so PS4 is outselling Xbox, according to these statistics, over 2-1.
Wow. It's quite interesting because, like, last generation, when it was the tides were turned, Microsoft couldn't stop telling us how many Xboxes they've sold, and they were always giving us the figures. And PlayStation were a little bit tight-lipped. And it's almost like if you're kind of a runner-up in this kind of battle, then you just kind of you stum and you don't tell anyone exactly how many consoles you're selling. But I don't see how it's that big a difference.
I didn't think it was that much.
No, that's really interesting.
Didn't think it was that much at all. But this is another link that I'll add to the show notes. We'll put it at the end of the show notes because there's some interesting information there and some year-by-year sales breakdowns of the consoles as well. And it's just interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, it's strange. I mean, 360 ruled, and before that, PS2 ruled. I mean, PS2 had an almost absolute rule, really. It was almost just the undisputed king, I'd say. So it seems to change each year. So by that, the next consoles that come out after these, it'd be like the Xbox is going to be best.
Yes.
And the PS5 will be chasing it because of whatever decision they make. It's like Sony will be complacent and Xbox will have got their act together because of what happened with this one.
Mm.
And that seems to have happened, really. PS2 was fantastic. They messed it up with PS3, the stupid price point, etc. Xbox 360 was everything you wanted and built on the Xbox, the original Xbox's architecture, delivering this Xbox Live thing that was like a whole amazing utopia of gaming. It was amazing when I played that, playing Project Gotham Racing on Xbox Live. You could never do that on a console before. Well, a little bit on Choo Choo Rocket, perhaps, on the Dreamcast. And then it switched again. It's as if Microsoft was so resting on the laurels with the 360, the Xbox One sort of came out subpar, and Sony thought we're going to rectify the mistakes of the PS3, so they got it right. Why can't they just both get it right? So that we just have. So all I'm saying there is, like, why can't the Xbox One have just been more powerful? Why can't it equal the PS4 but in a different way?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? To give you different angles of fantasticness, even though the Xbox One is still good. So yeah, we'll put that in there. So PS4 is like, in the last quarter, is far and away outstripping Microsoft in sales, which is surprising to that degree. But it's not enough. It's not enough to make Microsoft fall to its knees. Microsoft has got enough money anyway to just carry on. I don't know if the Xbox has got profitable yet. it's a difficult business, the old console game market.
Well, I did hear that the positive about all of this is that both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are kind of outselling the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 at the same time. If you say, okay, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 2 years on, those the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 is outstripping those numbers at the moment. So, which is, for us, that's a really healthy sign that the console market, because at the end of the last console cycle, because it lasted so long, people are saying, you're never going to get another one. This is it. It's dead. The Xbox One, you won't. That'll be it. That's the last one. But by looking at these figures, it just shows that console market is incredibly healthy and incredibly profitable, even though PlayStation 4 at the moment are getting a large chunk. But it's back to what I was saying earlier. Will this lineup that Microsoft have, will that help? Will people, judging by the group of people I was talking to yesterday at lunchtime, there was a whole group of them, and it was kind of split, and that's why those figures just wow me, because judging by 6 people that didn't have a console, it was an equal split of, well, I'm going to get an Xbox because I want Halo, and the other people, I'm going to get a PlayStation 4 because I want Uncharted or something like that. And with PlayStation not having any first party titles out there, it just shocks me that people are buying PlayStation 4's hand over fist. Because at the moment, if I went in to game and said, right, what console can I have? Okay, that one's got Gears, and it's got Halo, and it's got Forza. Over here, I'm just getting third party titles, but I can play those over here. I'd plump for an Xbox. But it's really interesting.
Yeah, you see, I always thought, and for me certainly, and I'm sure for you, games sell consoles. I mean, we're completely fanatical gamers, so we'll just get everything anyway.
Yes.
I've been burned a few times buying bad consoles, because I just buy them. I know you have as well. Atari Jaguar, I'm looking at you. Philips CDI, I'm looking at you. Yeah. Oh man, mercy me, that was terrible, and that cost me so much money when I was small. So much money. But so I'm not saying that one's better or whatever. This is just statistics, and I like to look at it because it's interesting. Yeah. Because we're into the hobby. You're seeing what's selling why, and there is a lack of exclusives on PlayStation, definitely. So you're getting the best games, exclusive games on Xbox One, and you're getting your multi-plats on both, obviously. So is it that the multi-platform games are better than the Xbox One exclusives, and because the PS4 has got the better specs, people are more interested in that? Like Star Wars Battlefront, for instance, is a multi-plat game. So is it that people, or the salesman, or the internet that's so rife with it? I don't know, I've never Googled it. If you Google which console should I get, is it just about the specs? Because, for instance, there's another game announced, Need for Speed, has just been announced that it's going to be 900p for Xbox One, right, 1080p for PS4. And since I put that on the show notes, today Avalanche have revealed that Just Cause 3 is going to be 900p for Xbox One and 1080p for PS4. Why don't we just all shut up and say all games are going to be 900p on Xbox One, yes, and 1080p on PS4? Because I'm certainly sick of saying it. I don't think I'm going to report it anymore. But the reason I report it is because it's interesting to say it, and is that because of the fact, is that swaying the figures? But for me, and I've said this before, I know you say that you can see the difference, but for me, 900p and 1080p, I don't really care. If I can have the better one, I will, and that's why I got a PS4 as well. So I'll now get a multi-platform title where it's best. And not about which console's best, about where the game's best. Like in the old days with the 360, I got Bayonetta on Xbox 360 because it ran like a dog on PS3, and most games ran better on 360 because the PS3 was difficult to develop for. So I got all those games on that, and then my PS3 was just a box for exclusives, and now it's turned tail. But, and I've said this before as well, I was going to get a PS4 when launch came, but I decided against it because I decided that there was no games on it that I wanted, and Rise was for me the most original game out of what was available on launch to show off the next generation. So I went with Xbox One, knowing that it was lesser in spec, but the game, I wanted that game. I thought that was the console seller for me. Rise did it for me. because I thought that was a breath of fresh air. I didn't want Killzone. I didn't think it was different enough from the last Killzone, and I didn't think it showed off enough next-gen bells and whistles to be worth it. So I changed my pre-order, because I was only getting one at first. I changed from PS4 to Xbox One, and that's what I got as the first console, and I didn't get a PS4 till a year later or so when Destiny came out. So what I'm trying to say here is the buying public influenced by just stats of they go in a shop and it's like, well, the PS4's better? Or are they being influenced by the fact that they know the PS4's better and there's games that are coming out for both, and they're aware that there's a slightly increased performance, frame rate and resolution on the PS4? It must be that, because if Xbox had all the exclusives, or if it had exclusives that trumped the PS4, then they would go Xbox, because, like you said, your friends are saying, well, Halo 5 makes me want to get an Xbox.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, judging by a couple of friends and my brother who have bought consoles, who are kind of they're not kind of like gamers like you and I, the kind of avid gamers. They are that kind of, I like this title, I like that title. Out of the last 3 people who have bought consoles, 2 have bought PlayStation 4s, and my brother bought an Xbox One. Now, he bought an Xbox One because he's fanatical about cars, and Forza is the ideal car game for him. It kind of couples cars and Top Gear, and it has all of that stuff. So that for him is the ideal game. So that the Xbox was the right place. My friend Dean, he bought a PlayStation 4, but because he had a PlayStation 3, he's got a Vita, he's got a PS Plus, so that just made sense. He's been bagging all of those PlayStation Plus games while he had just had a PS3. He's been bagging the PS4 one, so that when he bought the PS4, he had a library already. And then my other mate Kenny, he was just like, well, everybody in the office is saying I should get a PlayStation 4, and if PlayStation 4 is outselling Xbox that much, when you do that litmus test in the office, going, I should get a console. What should I get? And everyone else is going, well, I'll get a PlayStation 4 because there's more PlayStation 4 people out there. So, for me, I would say if someone said to me, get a console, you're right, Darren, it's about what games do you want to play. Do you like Gears? Do you like chunky men running around with chainsaw guns? If you like that, then Xbox One is the place for you.
I know I do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's on my dating profile. And that's it. That's the place for you to go. But but at the moment, there's nothing, on the PlayStation 4 that was... I mean, I've played 2 PlayStation exclusives this year. I'm playing one at the moment, which is the Uncharted collection. The other one was the Sir Galahad kind of... what was that game that lasted for about 2 hours and then it was done?
Oh, wow. Stupid rubbish. The Order.
The Order, that's it. So they're the only 2 PlayStation exclusives that I've played this year.
Yeah. Oh, and Bloodborne. Bloodborne's good.
Yeah, see, I haven't played that because it scares the bejeepers out of me. Well, but they're the only, and it surprises me. Where you go over to Xbox, there are so many. You've got Master Chief Collection, you've got Halo, you've got Gears of War, you've got Tomb Raider, Forza. The list goes on. The
trouble is, more people that get a PS4, the more reputation it gets. Like you say in the office, it's like you got your meerkats popping up going, PS4's best, I've got a PS4, my mate says PS4's best. Then the more that get out there, the more people are going to say it, and the more people are going to get one, and then the more likely it is that the person you speak to is going to say, I can play with you, but only on PS4 because that's what I've got. And it's the games and it's your mates that have got one as well. If all your mates had Xboxes, you should get an Xbox.
Well, exactly. I mean, and it's quite interesting for me because I want to play Star Wars Battlefront on the PlayStation Network because there's a lot of people I know that are playing it over there. But then my brother was like, when's Star Wars out? And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have to buy 2 copies, aren't I? I'm going to have to switch between. And then it started me thinking, I was sitting on the train the other day. I went to Manchester, so a long train journey, and I was just sitting there thinking, why can't they just be cross-platform at the back end? Now I know that's ridiculous, and the amount of architecture and the amount of kind of, I'll show you mine before you show me yours between PlayStation and Xbox. But imagine if you just bought Star Wars Battlefront and you could just whatever, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, it didn't matter. We could all just come together. Yeah. We need to have a unity concert.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit like Pactor's prediction. I don't think it's going to happen next generation, but he was saying that you could buy into a franchise, for instance, or you'll just play the game. There won't be a platform delivering that game that's either Microsoft or Sony. But I mean, that's scary for them as hardware manufacturers, but not as game publishers. So it'll give the publishers the power, and you'll pay your Call of Duty subscription, or you'll pay your Star Wars Battlefront subscription, and you'll just play it, and everyone will be playing it, and they'll just be playing it, and it won't be about what console, what channel, what conduit they're using. There'll be one conduit for everybody. And the way it's going with broadband speeds increase, that becomes more viable. That's what you're saying there. Removing this stupid nonsense all this hyperbole that just kind of rolls the media along with this crap about console wars and stuff, and who's best, and comments arguing about nonsense when who cares as long as everybody's enjoying games. That's what will happen, I think. And you said something interesting before, where you said for your mates, Xbox or PS4 was the right place for them. You said, it might have been the guy with Forza. So you said the Xbox was the right place for him.
Yes,
and that's the thing. Somehow PS4 have made their brand the right place for the most people, and somehow Microsoft have let that go. They used to be the right place for the most people, and somehow they're not the right place anymore. So something's happened with the generation, and we talked about this before, the echoes of that travesty of a launch. And I'm just trying to put this into context. So we say games sell consoles, which they obviously do, because you wouldn't buy a console unless it's got some amazing game you want to play on it. You're not going to just buy it to sit there. You're going to spend £300 or £400 for something just to sit there. So a game's the catalyst. Okay. Now, we already know it's a fact that the PS4 is better tech, right? Or better spec, I should say. Not better tech, better spec. Xbox One is a little bit lacking. But they can both deliver pretty much the same. If you gave a kid either one, you got him to play one level of one and then a level on another, he probably wouldn't know the difference, I'd say, unless it was like some shocking port.
But it's worthwhile noting that on, like Forza, Halo 5, they're both 1080p, 60 frames a second.
They are, but Halo 5 had to give up split screen for that.
Yes.
Does Forza have split screen, local co-op, or local racing?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried that.
Okay.
But...
So yeah, totally, and it does it on the exclusives though. That's not, they had to dip that, but Uncharted 4 isn't going to be 1080p.
No.
So I'm going off point, but yeah.
But I think go back. Sorry, I sidetracked you there, but you're right. The game, so you are just kind of.
So say you've got right. Let's say that and let's just talk about Microsoft and Sony. Let's say that they, out of all the games, they both have 20% each of exclusive games for their platform. Okay. In fact, let's say 25% each. Okay. Make it easier. So there's 50% of games, half on one and half on the other. They're your exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of it is your multi-platform. So there's 50% going to come out on both. So somehow the 50%, I'm just offering this out there. Do you think that the 50% of multi-platform games being better on the PS4, which they are being, because that's been proven now, they're usually 1080 instead of 960 FPS instead of a little bit less or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that 50% of games being better on PS4 is what's influencing people? And if it is, all it means is that it might be the greatest lineup of games in Microsoft's history or Xbox history, and we haven't seen it all yet, so this could change at the moment. They haven't got. It's games that sells it. If you can get the same on both, but it's better on one, people are obviously going to the one, which means that Microsoft's exclusive games aren't good enough to they're not good enough to make people think they're willing to not go with the more powerful machine. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, maybe that's why Microsoft are giving you £60 if you buy all of those games. But for me, if you look at Star Wars Battlefront, because your average Joe who buys his PlayStation or his Xbox or her Xbox or her PlayStation, they don't care about 1080p and 90 frames a second. They don't care. And I think it is down to, PlayStation 4 has probably the better indie lineup, even though the Xbox, so you always say okay, PlayStation has a better indie lineup, but Xbox One has some fantastic games. When Cuphead comes out, that's just going to be amazing. Interestingly, I listened to an interview about Cuphead, and they said that the reason why it's not come out is they're actually they're just tweaking the difficulty at the moment because they feel it might just be a little bit too hard.
It's a bit hard.
And we found that, didn't we, when we were playing at EGX? So that was an interesting one, and that was from Aaron Greenberg, did an interview, who's the head of marketing. But so your average Joanna doesn't care about 1080p 60 frames a second, but they're looking at a game. They're in game, or they're watching TV. Star Wars Battlefront comes on, an advert for Star Wars Battlefront. Best on PlayStation 4. There's, everywhere I look, magazines or online, Star Wars Battlefront, PlayStation 4. Games for life, whatever.
As if it's an exclusive.
It's being treated, and the thing that blows my mind, because again, that round table of people that we were chatting to, two of them huge Star Wars fans, they were saying, well, I'm going to get PlayStation because it's on there. But what they didn't know was that you can get it a week earlier on EA Access on Xbox One.
Yeah.
And no one knew about that, and it's just because Microsoft are saying, this is our lineup, these are the games, and they are covering all the bases. There's the first person shoot 'em up, third, there's an adventure game, there's a driving game, they're covering, there's Rare Replay, they're really covering everything on that lineup, and they really are throwing a lot. And 2016 is going to be an interesting one because there's some really big titles coming, like Scalebound and a Crackdown and things like that.
Yeah, so, and Crackdown actually utilising the Azure cloud as well, and showing things that reportedly cannot be done on PS4. So that's going to be interesting.
But, Assassin's Creed, Star Wars Battlefront, Need for Speed, those games are all being touted with the PlayStation logo on. The only game I'm seeing at the moment with the Xbox logo is Fallout.
Yeah, interesting little deals must be done.
Yeah. It really is. Even though, and Sony has said, and Shuhei Yoshida has said in an interview that, why bring out a first-person shooting game when Battlefront's coming out? Why battle? Their kind of excuse for not having these exclusive titles out this year is why battle with this fantastic lineup?
Yeah, well, sort of fair enough. Especially, he's probably just saying, and look, I don't have to do anything anyway because the public are doing it for me.
Yeah, we just give them some cash and then we stick our logo on it. But if you listen to me this podcast, I've already said, I played Halo, but now that's going away because Battlefront's coming out. So I'm doing that, and then I'm flipping over to PlayStation Network to play Battlefront.
Yeah. I think as well,
it's fascinating. I find it.
It is fascinating. You're talking about Joe and Joanna Public, and I'm right with you there. But I think that the tech is so prevalent nowadays that, like my mum and dad Google stuff. If they're going to buy something, they'll Google it. So someone's going to Google it. They're going to say which console. Now I haven't done that, as I just said, but whenever I think they'll just see the specs. So Joe, Joanna Public, if they're not gamers, they won't really have a game that they want. So then they'd just go off the specs, wouldn't they? They say, well, this one's better. Do you think that could be it?
Most definitely, probably could. I've just googled Star Wars Battlefront, and the second thing on Google was PlayStation 4. So it's
wow. What if you Google Xbox One or PS4? Which
they've also given a teaser for the Battle of Jakku as well, which I'm not looking at because that could have spoilers.
Yeah, you can't look at that. That's the thing, you can't sort of play Battlefront until you've seen the film. Well, if they start downloading stuff. Hope they don't start downloading spoilers like maps and stuff or things that will spoil the film, like as soon as the film's released, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Maybe this could be an interesting article that we could write and stick up on gamerslostpart.com, because I definitely think there is a definite comparison or a definite face-off, because there's a wealth of titles on both. As I said before, I think the good thing about this is no matter which one you plump for, you're in for a good time, because console gaming at the moment is at its height. The games are looking incredible. When we were going through our E3 press conferences, we just said they look stunning is a default now. So it doesn't matter which one you go for. I just because of last generation and because of Xbox and I think PlayStation 3 did catch up at the end of the cycle, but I'm just surprised that Xbox One is losing out by such a large margin, and whether titles like Sea of Thieves by Rare, Crackdown and Scalebound and all of those titles, whether they are Gears of War 4, whether all of those titles next year are going to help as well, because they're amazing titles. I can't wait for all of those.
Yeah, I agree. You got PSVR. If you're interested in VR, you might go for PS4, though they'll probably bring Oculus compatibility with Windows 10. I just googled which console to get, PS4 or Xbox One. Imagine if I was just thinking about getting which one. The top hit is from a place called trustedreviews.com, and I just had a very quick scroll to the bottom for the verdict, and basically they're pretty good. They say they're torn. And it's a long thing they compare. It was better than I thought. I just thought they were going to say, this is better specs. They're looking at the games, they're looking at the controllers and everything, and they said we're still torn. Said at the moment we might edge for Xbox One because of Windows 10, giving it a lot more compatibility, but we're torn, we're in two minds, either one are good. I thought it was going to be stacked. So when it actually tested it on the internet there, that theory, it's not saying, PS4. There's some, straight away you're getting objective information there. So saying that it's not all about the specs, it's about what you want it for. It's interesting that it's just kind of, to be that different. It's strange. It's amazing that there's such a gap. But it's not all bad news for Xbox. Not that it's bad news anyway. Well, I suppose it is for the sales department. I bet they're getting told off and stuff. But the Xbox Live usage is growing all the time. The CEO of Microsoft, whose name never rolls off my tongue like Steve Ballmer, Satya Nadella, he has recently talked about how much Xbox Live users are on Xbox One, and he says half of Xbox One user base uses the service, which is really good. So he said this during the company's earnings conference for the first quarter of fiscal year 2016, whatever that means. Excuse me. And he said basically, according to the quarterly financial report, Xbox Live has got 39 million active gamers, and that's a 28% increase year over year. So that's interesting. So it keeps going up. 28% increase each year. That's a huge amount. Though it does apply to all Xbox Live members, not just members of the paid service. It includes the silver members, the free service as well.
Right.
But still, people are using it, and it's growing. So that's good. He says as well that every day nearly half of the Xbox One user base is engaged in the service. Every day. Half of 39 million active gamers.
Wow.
So
that's really cool. I used to like when Major Nelson used to do those top 10 games played on Xbox Live. Most of the time it was always Call of Duty at the top until the next Call of Duty kind of came out. But it was really interesting to kind of see what was being played. Like your Gears of War was always in there, Halo. You see other titles just kind of appearing, and I always liked those, but they don't do those anymore. They don't do those since they've moved over to Xbox One.
Yeah, it's a shame that, isn't it? Maybe they'll come back one day.
So, but that's a really interesting discussion. And I do think it's one that we could maybe expand on a little bit more and create an article, because I do think even though that site that you found had a bit of a kind of a stalemate, they were torn. I do think, like I say, there are some positives. Like Xbox Live was always a positive for me, because I always thought that was such a fantastic, and it is a fantastic platform. Xbox Live was, whether you were a parent with kids and you wanted to limit them, it always worked so well. And over on PlayStation 3, it was always a bit of a chore. I know there's been quite a lot of noise at the moment where with PlayStation Network, where people can't change their names, and people are they're all pinging Shuhei Yoshida all the time saying, let us change our names, because you can't actually change your name on the PlayStation Network. The name that you stupidly gave yourself when you were 15, you still have now, and it's just it's really interesting how their platform, even though they've continued to kind of grow on it, it does sound like it's not as slick as Xbox Live.
No, and it never has been. I've never liked the cross media bar.
No. So it's to be interesting, and I mean, like I say, it's definitely something that I want to kind of keep an eye on, because it definitely is an interesting topic for discussion.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, the trends and stuff. But anyway, on we go.
On we go. So next news item is Rock Band 3 tracks are finally coming to Rock Band 4. Woo. So on December, Rock Band 4 is getting an update. And with that update will be the ability to pay to get your tracks exported from your Rock Band 3 to Rock Band 4. So that's 80 odd tracks, and so you do, like I say, you do have to pay. So there is an unlock key that you have to buy, and that's about $15. The article that I'm reading from Digital Trends, that is $15, and that will enable you to unlock the Rock Band 3. So, I mean, Rock Band 3 had some fantastic tracks. You know, it had Space Oddity, I was right. Space Oddity. You know, it had Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting by Elton John. You know, it had Flaming Lips. I actually discovered the Flaming Lips because of, similar to what you were saying, Darren, how you found new music.
The only way I find any music.
Yeah. Exactly. There was, you know, and it had, and I hope that comes across, because it was always a long one, but it was my favourite. It had like Freebird by Leonard Skinner, and there was just some fantastic ones. You know, I can imagine you and Claire rocking out to Joanne Jett and the Blackhearts' I Love Rock and Roll on a Saturday night. I'm sure that kind of comes out of the Witham household.
Oh yeah. The best kind of Saturday nights, that.
So, I mean, there was, you know, and they had Queens of the Stone Age, and there was just so all of those 80 tracks are going to for 50. So it's like buying an expansion pack for Rock Band 4. So it's like $15 is going to give you 80 decent tracks, and I think that might help. I mean, it's quite funny, because when we first started talking about Rock Band, I was saying, well, I don't really know the songs, you know, it's a little bit clunky, but I think the problem was that I had with Rock Band was you have to choose the songs. You know, it doesn't just say, right, you're going here and you're playing this, which I believe the previous Rock Band has always done. Yeah. It's always like, okay,
they were in a list, and you had to go through them, didn't you?
Yeah, so what I'm doing at the moment is going, well, I know that one, and I know that one. I end up just playing the same ones over and over again. Yeah. So I started now doing kind of a bit random, and I'm like closing my eyes and just pressing a couple of buttons. But I know that it's growing on me, because I now have an iPhone playlist with the songs that I'm playing in Rock Band. So all those new songs, I'm like, oh, I like that. Buying the song, downloading the song, and I'm just adding that to my playlist on my iPhone. So I'm building up quite a little playlist, and it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's 83 tracks for £15 is good. The only bitter thing about it is we've already bought the game.
Yes.
The last license unlock thing we had to do, that I remember for Rock Band, was about £4. So it was a bit of a difference on the export fee, but I suppose it's something to do with if it's not just that they want the money, something to do with the length of time in between the games.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I kind of got excited and then realised that I was just an idiot, because which I generally do, but because I thought, in Rock Band 3, I'd already brought in Rock Band Lego and Rock Band 2, so when I do Rock Band 3, do I get those as well? And I don't. So, because I thought, because I've accumulated those and paid the unlock, or had the unlock code in the game, I thought maybe I would get those as well, but it doesn't look like I do. It just looks like the ones that were on disc, they're the ones that are going to be available. And if you don't have Rock Band 3, and if you don't want to buy that £15 unlock, all of those Rock Band 3 setlist songs will be available to download after that December update for a price. So if you did just want to play No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age, then you can buy that for probably about £1.49 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I did. I looked at the 83 tracks in Rock Band 3, because I was thinking of doing this, and then I was like, I couldn't find 10. And
right.
So 10 is about £15 at $1.49, and I thought, oh well. Actually, it wasn't me. Claire said it. She was like, well, show me 10 tracks that you love. And I was like, and I couldn't. But then, a bit like you say, you know, you do grow to love them, but then I played Rock Band 3, so you'd think I would remember them. So I was like, fair enough. If I was going to do it, I'd just pick the ones I want. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it. But they are supposed to be the ones that you have exported from Rock Band 2. should come over around about mid-December, apparently.
It's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Once you get that update, you'll just be looking at your songs, trying to see what's coming.
Yeah, and it doesn't tell you. You've got to go through the whole list. Find the songs. First, you've got to find the list of songs. Then you've got to, because I can't remember the Rock Band 2 songs, though I believe it's one of the better set lists. And then you've got to go and find each one individually and try and see if it says purchased or whatever. Go to Harmonix and look at the complex spreadsheets of how to do it. It's not elegant, but I like Rock Band. And compared to what I'm hearing about Guitar Hero Live, it's a much better model. Have you heard about the way that Guitar Hero Live is handling it?
Absolutely. Guitar Hero Live makes me feel old because Guitar Hero Live just seems to be like a kind of it's like MTV, not even MTV because that was awesome, but it just seems like there's music videos there that you can kind of play along to. If you don't want to play along, you can just stop playing, and it just seems like a party game. I mean, I like the idea that it's something new to learn, because the whole point of playing Rock Band was that there was something new to learn, and I like the way that they're doing. That's brilliant.
In fact, by all accounts, people are saying it's better. That aspect of it is fantastic because it's freshened it up. Yeah.
But then the rest of it just seems like, we've got a group of people, there's a party, we've got music just playing, and then you can just play along if you want, and then you unlock credits, don't you, to play that song. You don't own any of the songs, you just have to constantly kind of earn these credits, which could be either in-game or they can be microtransactions, that ugly word, and they could do that. So, is that what you've heard, Darren?
Yeah, that basically you earn credits by playing the songs that you don't even choose, which is fair enough. Well, it's not fair enough. The bit that isn't fair enough is that you can't choose what you want to play online. They've got, like you say, it's just a rolling thing. You might pick up your guitar and the song's halfway through and you'll just join in. And then you've not heard of it, but you can't select the song you want. And you could you earn so many credits each time you do a song. And somebody worked out, I think it was Laura Kay, Buzz on the Jimquisition podcast, she said that basically if she had people round, she was mortified, and I don't blame her. She said that it would take her to play random songs for 10 hours to be able to play songs she wanted for something like 10 minutes. Because of the way you earn the credits. And I was like, that's not right. And it doesn't allow you to just buy the song you want to play.
Wow.
Because you can't own them, you can't buy them, you can only buy a play using the credits that you've accumulated from playing random songs.
Yes.
And that's insane. It's just insane. What do you want? You want to play the songs you want? What do you want to do in the store? You want to see it? Someone goes, have you got that one? Have you got that one? You go, let's have a look. Oh, look, they've got it. Oh, let's buy it. You can't do that.
No.
That's part of the fun, all that bit.
It's like owning the unpaid for version of Spotify. When you get the cheap Spotify that you don't pay for, the free version. It's like that, isn't it? You go, oh, I really would like to listen to this song, and then you've got to put it in shuffle mode, and that song never comes up.
Yeah.
And you just have to listen for a whole load of rubbish before you get the one you want. Gee. But like I say, there isn't even the option like Spotify to say, actually, do you know what? I want to buy the premium. Here's an extra £4 a month. Give me the songs that I want to play. You
can't even pay to play. You can you can play to rent a song for one play. Oh dear me, it sounds awful.
It does. But like I say, the positive of it was that the guitar looks really good. I like the control system, but then I was listening to a review on a podcast, and the way that it was really funny because there was someone on the podcast, and he's very I sound bloody old by saying this, but he's very young, and he was like, oh, it's great, you can just jump in, jump out. And I'm like, that's not how I play Guitar Hero or Rock Band. I play them by I want a group of friends around, but I want to play the entire song. I don't just want to play couple of bars, then start tweeting and with my
and if there's a song
short attention span that these youngsters have these days, I want to bloody.
Well, I don't mind the idea of drop in, drop out, and if that was a mode you could do, I might be quite interested in, and it sort of have a music genome or something in it, and all the people can vote from around the world and play it and have a playlist like that. You probably get to hear some fantastic tunes. But when you find one you love, so you're on that mode, say, and you're like, wow, I love this, you can't, then you want to get it and own it and play it and play it and play it, and you can't do that. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah.
But there you go. But 83 songs coming for $15 coming in the December update. So it looks like Rock Band 4 could be an interesting one after December. I think the last thing I saw about it was that it could be coming around about December 12th. So keep an eye on that. It's just before kind of you start rocking for Christmas when you have people round.
Wow. Yeah.
So there you go. Next piece of news is with you, and I'm interested in this because I don't know anything about it yet.
Okay. Well, it's some Nintendo news. It's a rare thing. So
rare, we're going back to Nintendo.
Oh, man,
you heard it here first.
That would be so good, wouldn't it? So Nintendo president Kimishima gave a little hint the other day, last week, about the Nintendo NX, and he said, "This is it, amazing. It will be a totally new gaming experience." So take from that what you will. What do you think that means?
See, part of me is the part of me is just incredibly excited about a new Nintendo console that's going to be powerful as the PS4 or even more powerful than the Xbox One. There's part of me that is giddily excited about that. But the other one, words like totally new experience, worries me. My ideal thing I would be able to have something like a PS Vita or something like that I can play those games, high quality games on, and then when I get home I dock it and it's in my TV. That's what I would like the NX to be. And then I pick up a Pro controller and play those games. I don't waggle my face, waggle my hands around, I don't press on any tablets. I pick up a controller and I play a game.
Wow.
And that's what's in my head. Now I'm trying not to put preconceived ideas there, because Nintendo, I want them to just wow me and then show me something. What do you think that means?
I don't know. I don't hope in a lot of ways. I mean, totally new gaming experience. New doesn't mean good. He hasn't said totally great gaming experience. Imagine if he said that. I'd sort of think that was better. He said it's going to be a totally great gaming experience, or amazing, or
we're going to blow you away with this.
Yeah, it's going to be of a standard that has never been seen before. Now that would fill me with positivity. But totally new gaming experience, doesn't necessarily mean it'll be totally brilliant. It's a bit like having a chocolate pizza. That's a totally new pizza experience for me anyway, but it doesn't mean it would be good. Not for me.
No,
so,
absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because the dev kits have started going out, haven't they, for the NX?
Yeah. And the Wall Street Journal said that it was cutting edge technology as well.
Yes.
So it's like crossing our fingers that it's going to be brilliant. So he gave a little clue there in that it's going to be totally new. So we've already had the waggly Wii sticks, and we've had the extra screen on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Now a lot of speculation says that the NX is going to have something about a paired device with it. But I find it difficult to have the paired device with a console, but totally new.
Yeah,
when we've got companion apps working off our smartphones and things.
Yeah,
I don't know how, and this is what, when he says totally new, I'm excited for it, because I want it to be something that like we haven't thought about, and it just drops. Like the Wii was amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
something like that I can't even think of.
Yeah, my Nintendo Utopia that I described, that for me would be amazing, because I have a DS, I have a Wii U. I'd love those two to be paired. The PlayStation Vita, Fallout 4 has been, and Destiny I found out as well. Fallout 4 and Destiny, when you start playing them on your Vita via the remote play on the PlayStation 4, it knows that you're playing on a Vita and changes some of the controls.
That's cool.
And even some of the button prompts are different for the, but you imagine, obviously I can only play those within my Wi-Fi, or if I'm on Wi-Fi, I think I can play them over the internet, but I have to have really good Wi-Fi. But imagine if you could just imagine if I could download a whole section of Fallout and take that on my Vita, but it looked like Fallout that's on my TV.
Yeah,
I would buy every game on the PlayStation. I would, because that would be amazing. I do enjoy the remote play, but I don't really need the remote play because we've got the living room and then we have the movie room, which is dedicated for gaming. So unlike a lot of people, we're not jostling for a TV because we have too many TVs in the house. So the remote play doesn't really kind of come into play for me. There has been a couple of times where I've been sick and I've been upstairs in bed and I can't go downstairs. I just grab my Vita and I play it there. But if that was the same with Nintendo, imagine kind of playing a bit of Mario, and then you've got to go to work. You just grab that, put it out in your bag, you start playing that on the train, and it's the same graphics. That would be a totally new experience. That take my money, Nintendo, because I would really want that, and I can't wait. I'm hoping maybe E3 next year they announce something, but it's also a little bit worrying because if they're just giving the dev kits out to the third parties, are they not worried about third parties for launch? Because it doesn't give them a long time to launch if they're going to be launching maybe this time next year.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you can never predict Nintendo, can you? You can never predict them.
No.
I mean, what maybe, a mobile device could be some kind of VR thing. Maybe they're working on some kind of HMD or glasses, some kind of, maybe some kind of lens that you would use, like a magnifying glass, that when you hold that up, it's got augmented reality, maybe just through one lens that you can hold over things, and it's got some kind of like game mechanics.
It'd be interesting.
That.
But like Nintendo are one of those companies that you just can't. You just don't know what they're going to do.
You can't second guess them.
No, you can't. I mean, as long as they don't call it the Wii U 2, no, I don't mind. Give it a brand new name. Come away from the whole Wii name and just kind of give it a new name. Like I say, if my Utopia is what they announce, I would be absolutely happy. I mean, I'm going to be happy. A powerful Nintendo console, sign me up. Yeah,
the project names are always better, aren't they? Dolphin for GameCube. I like Dolphin best. NX, I'd be happy with Nintendo NX.
Absolutely,
it's the Nintendo X. I'm happy with that. Yeah, so we'll see what happens as well. But there's also the news that not long after that was talked about, Nintendo's stock. I mean, I'm not a finance guy or anything, and I don't look at the markets to find out where the gaming giants are. But Nintendo's stock dropped nearly 20% in 5 days. In the last 5 days.
Wow, what caused that? Was it just because of the totally new experience, or?
He said that, and that was it. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is going to be rubbish," and it just dropped. It lost $5 billion.
Wow!
In 5 days. So this was in the 5 days coming up to the 2nd of November when this article was published on NintendoEnthusiast.com. Mm-hmm. But Nintendo's stock went really down. It was immediately after its investor briefing. The stock fell more than 10% after the investor briefing, but after that it just carried on dropping. It dropped 23,880 yen to 19,415. That was a 19% drop, but it basically carried on, and it is a loss of $5.3 billion of investment in the company that's worth, well, it's, as I say, it's 20%. The company's worth about $40 billion, I think.
Wow! Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, I should think they'll probably kind of bounce back up once they show Mario in Pixar. Gorgeously rendered.
Unreal Engine 4 Mario. Everything's got to be sort of an Unreal Engine 4 ultra settings PC thing. But I think it shows. If it doesn't come up soon, it just shows a lack of confidence, doesn't it?
Yes. I think when they have that first reveal and they see the internet go whappy over it, then it will kind of bounce up. And I think, if you did look at Nintendo stock, I'm sure it does just kind of go up and down. Because if you think about it, again, we're coming into a season where they haven't really got any new games. Star Fox looks like it should be on an N64. Zelda's not coming out anytime soon. So you can tell that those games will probably have an impact on their stock price.
Maybe it's a good time to buy some Nintendo shares.
Yes, if you can, that would be good. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not as well. Shares can go down as well as up. Okay, everybody. It's not my advice. I'm not a finance guy, but it tempts me. If I get more confident in the NX and then it's really dropped, it's like maybe it's worth investing a bit. And then the NX, Nintendo goes mad again, like the Wii. You make a few quid.
Yes, indeed.
Or you lose it all. So over to you, sir.
The next piece of news, it's kind of, indulge me if you will, Darren, for a moment. Arkham Knight. Possibly my game of the year. We have got the last 3 months of that season pass. The season pass that keeps on giving, even though I paid £35 for it. It keeps on giving. So October we had classic Batman. So we had the classic Batmobile. We had a classic skinned Robin. Julie Newmar Catwoman skin. There was some AR challenges, some racetracks as well. So that was all good if you like your 66 Batman, the Bill Dozier Batman. So that was all kind of in October. November. Now this is the stuff that's for me, because we have Batman versus Superman. Now I got giddy with excitement over the 1989 Batman. I am ecstatic that we get Batfleck. So we at Batfleck and their new Batmobile is coming to Arkham Knight. So we get that. We get a skin. We get a Batmobile. We get some more AR challenges. We get an Arkham episode called Catwoman's Revenge. There's also one called A Flip of a Coin, starring Robin. So I'm guessing that's going to be Two-Face. There's also some more GCPD lockdowns, and if you remember, they were kind of one of my favourite bits of this game. A whole load more of AR challenges, and then in December, interestingly, we get something called the Season of Infamy, and this is what they teased. This is one of the things that made me kind of put my money where my mouth was and buy the season pass, because we get the Season of Infamy, which is the most wanted expansion, and we get missions that involve Killer Croc, Mr. Freeze, Ra's al Ghul, and Mad Hatter, as well as another Batmobile from the 2008 Chris Nolan, and we also get the original Arkham Batmobile as well. So all of that kind of rounds off this year of the Arkham Knight for me, and I can't wait to play Season of Infamy. That sounds like it's going to be 4 missions that could be good fun. Yeah,
it does sound good. Destiny did something for Halloween.
Yes.
Arkham Knight sounds like it's begging to have done something. Did it do anything?
All of the Arkham games, they always have some kind of little throwbacks, because you have Calendar Man is one of the villains, and if you've ever read the fantastic graphic novels by Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb, which is Long Halloween, they have something which is every holiday from Halloween to Halloween, this amazing graphic novel that is just drawn beautifully by Tim Sale. They have, like, every issue of this comic book is a different holiday. So you have St. Patrick's Day, Christmas, Easter, and they always have those little kind of calendar man things. I believe if you go in on, Halloween, there is something there. I haven't found them. I remember. I forgot about it actually this Halloween, because I did think, I must go back into Arkham Knight, but I actually forgot. And but they normally have those kind of things.
Cool. And so what's that mission you're looking forward to again?
I'm looking forward to, we have a Robin and a Catwoman episode, and then we have something called the Season of Infamy, which is the most wanted expansion, and they are Mission Beneath the Surface, which is Killer Croc, In From the Cold, which is Mr. Freeze, Wonderland, which is Mad Hatter, and Ra's al Ghul Shadow War.
Wow, the Season of Infamy. Infamy. They've all got it, infamy. Hey! There you go. That's why I made you read all those out again.
Thank you very much.
Well worth it.
You're just a literary genius. But yeah, so that's kind of my Batman news, and I promise, in January I'll shut up about it.
That's all right, mate. Keep it coming. I'm looking forward to Season Pass 2.
Oh no, don't. Right, next piece of news is for you.
Yeah, and that's about VR news. There has been some PSVR, PlayStation VR, PSVR information revealed. They talked about it a lot at the Paris Games Show. They talked quite a lot about PlayStation VR there. We didn't cover it because we were away with one thing and another, but I'll give you some information now. So, during the company's Paris Games Week, they revealed that games Gran Turismo Sport and Tekken 7 are going to go and be on VR. I can understand Gran Turismo Sport. I don't understand how Tekken's going to work. but I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to work.
Yeah.
And also, they did a half-hour talk, which I'll put the link in at the bottom of the notes, on PlayStation VR, which is really interesting, and it goes into some of the specs, and it also reveals that it's going to use an external device to power it. So it's gonna need a lot of processing power. So there's gonna be an external box, like a power unit. Oh, sorry, a processing unit, not a power unit.
Oh, really?
It's going to have an external processing unit that's going to enable it to be able to work properly. And that unit's going to take a lot of the heavy lifting off the PS4, ensuring everyone's going to get a smooth experience. Because remember, this is going to be shining out onto your screen as well as in VR.
Yes.
So your PlayStation's got to do two things at once, And imagine doing that two things at once while you're doing split screen local co-op or something. So you're going to be doing two things at once on the screen and then re-rendering it for your VR. Plus it's upping the frame rate for VR and stuff and inserting extra frames in between frames because it's got some kind of clever projection stuff going on. So there is a lot to do. Everybody thought, it's just going to do it. They just made it do it. It's in the HMD, the head-mounted device, but it's not. It's going to be in an extra unit. It's going to come with the... With the consumer version will come with this. It's not like an extra, but it's just something that's interesting, isn't it? That's another wire that's going to be attached to you, or it'll probably be. I imagine it'll be a wire to this external unit, and then the external unit will go off to the PS4, so it'll still be one wire. But that's something that's new. Didn't know about that.
No, absolutely. I mean, for me, the way that they've been showing it, obviously there's always been kind of a wire, but it's very much a dev kit at the moment. I was hoping that these head-mounted devices would be wireless. That you charge them when you're not using them, and that they would be wireless. So that's kind of because you'd have then freedom of movement, wouldn't you? So you wouldn't be able to.
I think it'll get there. For say PSVR and Oculus, you don't really need it to be wireless because you're not moving about. Vive would greatly benefit from it because that's the one that's selling itself and roaming around in the space.
Yeah.
And that's why HoloLens is wireless.
Right.
Because you roam around. So so I don't think it's so much to worry about with sitting down experiences, but they're all going to evolve and they're all going to get to this roaming around. So they're all going to have to get wireless. And they're going to need decent charge time. And it's going to be like mobile phones in the 80s were massive. And these HMDs that we're looking at now are going to be laughable. I just don't know how many years to say how long it will be till they're laughable. I'd like to say 5 years.
Yeah.
Who knows? But with Moore's Law and what have you, and tech getting better, hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. It's due to come out in the first half of 2016. Oculus and HTC Vive are due in the first quarter. Now, it's interesting because I thought that PSVR was due in the first quarter as well. I thought all three of their big hitters were coming out in the first quarter. Reading that PSVR is set to launch in the first half of 2016 is interesting because with the release date of No Man's Sky is June, which is the last month of the first quarter.
And if anything's going to sell that game, that would be it, wouldn't it?
And we've already offered the hypothesis that that would be the one to bundle with it. So, for me, I think that we're on track here, mate. I think PSVR comes out in June with No Man's Sky.
Yes. And we've got the PlayStation experience is a couple of weeks away in San Francisco, so it will be interesting. They teased it at Paris Games Week, so maybe they're going to give more information there, and they're just trying to share it out between their two big press conferences that they've got.
Yeah. They need to have stuff at both, don't they?
They really do.
Spread it around.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, I must admit, I was very impressed at how they advertised PlayStation VR. They had almost an Iron Man kind of Tony Stark kind of approach to show you that you're wearing something throughout the demos. You just see like someone's face with like very black around them. You saw someone's face, and then they had something over their eyes, and then they were showing that almost esports game where you're kind of jumping around, and that looked quite cool. That would be quite a good laugh by the looks of it in VR.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of games become sort of the most related to VR and the best fit, because it's so different than what we're used to.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some specs as well. The The kit is supposed to have, this may change, but at the moment, a 5.7-inch 1080p OLED display with 120Hz refresh rate that's capable of reprojecting, I sort of mentioned this before, reprojecting titles that are running in 60 frames per second natively into 120 frames per second on the device, on the HMD. And it's going to also have 360-degree positional tracking with the help of 9 LEDs that are tracked with the PlayStation camera. So you'll need to get it working. You're going to have to buy a PS camera as well. Now, they're probably cheap at the moment. They'll probably go up when PSVR comes out. So if you decided that you're definitely going to get one, it might be wise to get a shifty PlayStation camera now while no one cares about them. And it's going to provide a 100-degree field of view with head tracking latency recorded at under 18 milliseconds. So it's going to feel, pretty good. You probably won't notice that lag at all when you're looking around in a virtual environment. So some interesting news, and as I say, there was a half-an-hour talk at Unite 2015 all about PSVR from one of the main guys who's developing it, and it's quite interesting. It's only 30 minutes, and we'll add that to the notes.
Fantastic. Oh, that'd be really interesting. I haven't seen that, so I'm going to give that a watch as well.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm going to watch it again as well, because when I had it on, I was busy doing other stuff, namely gathering up the news, the rest of the news that I was going to talk about. So not all of it sank in, but the guy didn't seem, maybe it was because he wasn't that charismatic, to be honest, but there was some good information there, and I'm going to watch it all. And there's a few things that I need to watch that have come out from Paris Games Week about VR that I haven't had a chance to see yet. So I've got a bit of catching up to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like I say, the way that they demoed all of the titles, it was very interesting and look fantastic. So there's, they're trickling out some titles that are going to be VR compatible and things like that. So it's an interesting space to keep an eye on. Next item is with me, a quick one, but a crazy one. Activision, Activision with their big pockets and their large wallet have bought King. Now, King are the developers of Candy Crush, and they've bought King for $5.9 billion. Yes, billion dollars. I could not believe this. When I read this the other day, I could not believe this. Now, obviously, Candy Crush is huge. You're probably getting spammed by your granny and your aunts on a daily basis from Facebook asking you to play Candy Crush. I know I am. So it's just like those people that just constantly spam me from Facebook and play Candy Crush. And I'm like, no. I think they have something like there was a figure that I found where it's 520 million in the second quarter of 2015 was just grossed from Candy Crush. So they not only, I mean, King have made Farmville or Farm Heroes as well. But what this means is that it means that Activision now own some of the biggest brands in gaming. They own Candy Crush, they own King, they have the Call of Duty franchise, they have the World of Warcraft franchise, they have Guitar Hero, they've got Skylanders, they've got Destiny, they have all of those titles now in their portfolio. So that is just impressive pockets and probably an impressive turnover in the next couple of years. So it's a very interesting proposition. I'm sure those guys at King are popping multiple champagne corks, probably bathing in the stuff right now when they saw that check come through. So Bobby Kotick said that it's all going through, and they reckon that by April next year the deal would be signed, sealed, and delivered, and they would have bought Candy Crush.
Wow, it's crazy money, isn't it? It's crazy money, but like you say, they sort of get everywhere. They seal the circle with the mobile platform as well. They've got the PCs, they've got the consoles, and then they get this, and they're just straight in there at the top. The top grossing mobile sort of fun, addictive games with extra purchases included. They get that, and if our future comes to be where you're taking the hardware away and you're just buying into the games rather than devices to play games on, they've got it sorted, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've got all the oldies hooked on Candy Crush. They've got all the World of Warcraft people hooked. They've got all the Call of Duty people. They've got all the Destiny people. I think I missed one. But yeah, they've got it. You've got you from all sides.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's quite funny when I'm sitting on the train and I'm there playing my Vita. I used to be the only person gaming on the train. Now you look around and everybody is playing something or fiddling with their iPhones or playing something on their iPad. And a lot of the time when you do just kind of glance at the screen, a lot of the time you are just seeing Candy Crush. So it does just seem to be that kind of instant fix, that addictive stuff that's bringing in non-gamers. So, it's good in a way. I've got nothing against Candy Crush. I've never actually played it.
I've never played it either. I don't think I ever will. But it obviously works.
Yeah.
It does what they want it to do.
It really does. There's other games I would play. There's other ways of taking my time. But, like I say, I do get spams regularly from Facebook. So I always had at one point I was going to have this kind of 3-hit rule that friends of my sisters, if they gave me kind of if they did 3 spams of we want you to play Candy Crush, they'll just unfollow them on Facebook.
That'll teach
but
them.
I was never that mean. So but that's an interesting one, like I say, and the deal they reckon will be signed, sealed and delivered by the kind of first quarter of 2016.
Yeah, it is very interesting. It'd be interesting to see if there's any proof in the future years of that being a wise decision, because at the moment, for instance, with Microsoft's acquisition of Mojang for Minecraft, you can't really see where they made their money back. Well, they haven't made their money back yet, but where they're going with it, we don't know because it's too early, or maybe it's not too early.
Yes.
It'd be too early if I'd spent $13 billion or whatever it was. So it'll be interesting to see this, because it's always interesting to hear about these acquisitions, but it's really good to see what happened. So it'll be good to see, did they make the right decision? Where did they go from this and what happened? Did they lose? Did they win? We'll see. But yeah, that's really interesting. Really a massive acquisition.
Absolutely. And then suddenly on Candy Crush, it probably got an update, and then all you got was Call of Duty adverts all the time.
yeah. And all the transactions doubled.
Yes. And then Candy Crush 2 will be out next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Which leads us actually quite nicely into my next item, which is about DLC and why it will never go away. I saw an article from DSOG, which is Dark Side of Gaming, and it's about DLC and why it's here to stay. And they've got opinions that sort of echo my sentiments a little bit. They, for instance, call DLC a cancer, which they believe it's the cancer of gaming, and it does seem to be spreading like that. I concur with them. I'm on their side with this, and this is quite an interesting point. They took the decision to stop covering stories about it because they just had enough. But they say it is ongoing, so they're making a comment, and they're saying the reason that it's definitely here to stay, which is me and you have discussed this at length. Ultimately, it comes down to that people just buy it, not us gamers, us sort of distinguished gamers with discerning tastes. People like your Candy Crush guys spend money on stuff because they like it, and that's it. And if people buy it, businesses would be stupid to not provide it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like there'll always be consoles when people want consoles and stuff like that. It'd be very difficult to change it. So one of the points here, and I might put this one in the notes as well. It's going to be a long notes. It's a long podcast. So there's going to be a lot of notes. Get reading, everyone. There's a lot of notes for you to research, listeners.
So there's a lot of homework that comes with a
There's
game.
a lot of homework.
Podcast.
We'll be testing you next week. According to the latest financial stats from EA, the company earned $195 million by selling extra content for its various games in Quarter 2, 2016. For the same period, guess how much they earned by selling full games digitally? I won't leave you in suspense too long. $89 million.
Oh my goodness.
So they make $89 million from selling games, but the extra content for those games is more than double.
Wow.
It's $195 million. So more than 2 times the money from the extra content than from the games. Now, Dark Side of Gaming says, and this is something I agree with as well, the fear is, because it works so well, because they know that if you get somebody hooked, this is proven. It's scientifically proven, I'm sure. I saw something that they've proved that if you get somebody hooked, they're willing to spend so much. They've done experiments on it. But it means that they may get a trend of, and this is where the fear is, and this is why I'm always throwing my toys out of the pram all the time. It's about delivering games with purposely cut content from the game, so that you can buy not just extra stuff, but stuff actually that was supposed to be in the game, and you keep cutting it back because it's more profit, isn't it? And it's a business.
Yes.
But yeah, I'll put the note on the at the bottom of the podcast. But yeah, it's staggering, man. 89 mil for games with just the option to buy extra stuff, and everybody goes mad about Dungeon Keeper and all these things, but that doesn't matter because the proof is in the pudding, and 195 million has been spent on extra content for the games. Unbelievable, amazing. It's like the games is just a catalyst to give them more money. A bit like giving you a mobile phone, or subsidising something. Subsidise the phone because we know that you're going to use that and stay with us and spend money for another 18 months. The game is just there as a hook, as a catalyst and a channel for you to give us more money because we know you will, because the game's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it in such black and white as that from like real business terms. It's like, it works, they're going to do it. It's amazing, isn't it? But the scary thing is if games get so fractured that you start just buying you buy the game and get like one level, and then you have to, having to buy more levels. Now, I wouldn't mind that if the prices were reasonable, like you get the first, if it equated to 50 quid for the whole lot, but I don't think that will happen. I think that you'll end up paying more because it'll be sort of elongated.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just thought I'd mention that. And as I say, I'll stick the article in the notes.
Absolutely, Star Wars Battlefront's going to be one of those ones to watch, isn't it? Because it's like, although they've already got the Battle of Jakku that's coming out, if you pre-ordered, you get that for free. But if you didn't pre-order, if you pick that up, and if you wander, you've just watched the Star Wars film, you wander into game and go, give me that Star Wars game. You've then got to pay for that, and that's something that maybe should have been there on the disc straight away because it should be available to everybody.
As soon as I come out of Star Wars, I'm going to buy the season pass. I can see it, and pre-order a BB-8. And all sorts of things. I won't be able to help myself because I love it. And
yes, yeah.
I love games, and games are great at this stage. They're so good. But some of the trends, they're not a nightmare or anything. It's optional, and I don't mind that. But it's what they could become. It's just a little bit concerning. I hope it doesn't ruin our hobby, and hopefully it won't.
But if it's done right, I just kind of spent 5 minutes going through kind of Arkham Knight stuff, and I paid £35 for that, and it's kept me going back to that title. Okay, you could argue that all of that could have got on the game. Maybe they could have taken an extra couple of months, an extra 6 months, and released the game now with all of that content. But I feel at the end of December when I'm jumping around Arkham Knight with Batfleck, and I've just played that new thing, I'm going to feel that was £35 well spent.
And there you go. And that's the thing. If it's not vacuous to the person who's buying it, if the person that buying it, it's just completely subjective, isn't it? If the person that buys it feels it's value for money, well, if they didn't, they're a fool to buy it. Yes. So all these people that are handing over their cash are doing it because they feel there's a value in what they're getting, and if they do that and they're happy, then who cares?
Yes,
as long as it doesn't affect my core gaming life.
Exactly. And the other game that is very much in this spotlight, which is my last piece of news, is Destiny. Destiny, again, it's had 4 pieces of downloadable content now. If I tot up how much I've spent on this game, but I feel like, again, especially after this latest update, I'm quite happy with my purchase, and so are 25 million other people. So Activision had a earnings report, and they announced that Destiny currently has more than 25 million registered users, compared to 20 million that they had in May and 16 million that they had in February. So it's a steady growth for Destiny, and the Taken King has obviously brought in new users. They also said that active players, so people who have accounts that are still active, are averaging around 3 hours a day in game, and it's also become one of the most watched console games on Twitch.
Wow, in your face, Daz the Doubter. Destiny is good. Shut up, Darren.
Well, the Taken King is awesome. The Taken King has...
I like Destiny. I played it for 40 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And then moaned.
But the Taken King really has just added that something. You could go back and argues to say you took too much out of that core game, and now you're charging us to put it back. But for whatever they did, 25 million people are playing Destiny, and that's a fair amount of people, and like I say, Taken King really did just add an extra bit to it, and I wish that would have been there from day one, because a lot more people would have enjoyed Destiny, and it feels a shame because I'm running around enjoying myself doing these new quests and stuff and having a blast, and you just wish that that like people like yourself, Darren, and other people that have deleted Destiny and moved on, that if Taken King would have been there, if all of the mechanics from Taken King would have been there on day one, then we could have had something, and we have got something special, but we could have had something very Bungie groundbreaking-esque.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm probably in the minority with my Rebellion, and I'm not going to get back on board until they bring out another full sort of sequel, so Destiny 2 official sequel. I decided that, but I'm in the minority, and obviously because 25 million players love it, and that's what counts. And that's the thing why it's difficult to hope for some certain practices to improve, because, and it's like with the Assassin's Creed Unity debacle, if they still sell by the bucket load, where's the incentive to make it better apart from reputation? It's like you would hope they won't want the bad press, but bad press, bad reviews, customers being not happy, doesn't matter. They're still making the money, and at the end of the day, it is a business, and it's about making cash. And Destiny looks beautiful, and for all accounts, when it's not glitching out, I'm sure Assassin's Creed Unity looks beautiful too. Well, I mean, it's patched up now, but you know what I mean. It's like it doesn't matter. It'd be hard. It's less of an incentive, let's say, for them to make things perfect when they sell by the bucket load anyway. Yes, and it is a lot of hard work to make a game. You can't take that away either.
But it's interesting to see that. The Assassin's Creed figures are down. For Assassin's Creed Revolution are down on Assassin's Creed Unity.
You mean Syndicate?
Syndicate, sorry, Syndicate. Yeah, so Syndicate has sold less.
Yeah,
than
is it?
Unity,
So
I mean, I haven't
burst
bought
a little
it.
bit.
I bought Unity. Have you bought Syndicate?
No, I gave up after Black Flag.
Yeah, see, so they are. Maybe it's time for Activision to. No, sorry, Ubisoft. Maybe it's time for Ubisoft to just take a year out. And
all they need to do is make people wait, because I'm sure if I didn't hear anything about it, I'm sick of hearing about it, and I'm sick of hearing about buggy messes. If they just waited a couple of years, like you say, and then said, oh, wow, and you'd see the difference more then as well, rather than it being so iterative. You don't notice the improvements because they're so iterative. And then I'd probably be like, wow, I'm tempted for Syndicate just because I wouldn't mind climbing up Big Ben and roaming around Covent Garden where I used to work. It kind of appeals to me, but I'm not buying it for the game. I'm just buying it for that, because I know that they make good open worlds.
For the virtual tour around London. But if you think about it, how can they learn from their lessons? I was thinking about this the other day. How can they learn from their lessons on Unity with Syndicate? Because Syndicate was already way in development when Unity was having problems.
I suppose
they don't do Assassin's Creed games in 12 months.
No, they don't. You're right.
These games take years, so they were probably like 50 to 60% in when Syndicate was having problems.
They must have done some analysis and said, right, look, this is terrible. It's really bad for reputation, and sort of done some analysis of how it was looking, and maybe they got some more staff on. I don't know, or maybe different development team just did a better job. We're not going to know. It's another book, isn't it?
It really is. And then on to the last piece of news with you.
Yeah, the last little piece of news is about next time you hear from us, dear listeners, me and Anthony will both have had a little go on Fallout 4. So what better way to end the show than with a bit of Fallout 4 news? And it's about the merchandising, the massive merchandising wagon that's steaming towards us all. So much merchandising for Fallout 4, I can't believe it. I never realised it was such a massive behemoth before. But anyway, you can get Nuka-Cola. If you're in the States and you're listening, you can get Nuka-Cola Quantum Fallout 4 Cola, and it glows. It's all blue and amazing.
Awesome.
It looks really cool. You can't get it in the UK at the moment. You can look at it at the UK Target website, which imports from America, but you can't get it. But you can't get it over here at the moment. But what you can get, because they know the Brits so well at Bethesda, is you can get some Fallout beer. Yes, you can get official Fallout beer, and it's on Amazon. You can get Fallout beer, a case of 12, 330 millilitres, for £29.99. It's all right, isn't it?
That's really cool.
12 Fallout beers. I haven't got a clue what it tastes like. About the product, Fallout beer has been brewed using a unique blend of malted barleys combined with selected hops. It's a light-coloured Pilsner lager with a refreshing, zesty, hoppy taste and a floral aroma. It's a collaboration between Bethesda and Carlsberg UK.
Oh, wow. So they've basically just put Carlsberg in. That's really cool. And then you obviously...
in a Fallout bottle, yeah.
It better have good bottle caps.
Yeah, I don't know if you can buy it for bottle caps.
But I did notice there's lots of kind of little chopskis for Fallout 4. They got lots of these keychains, isn't there? There's Pip-Boy aplenty keychains and everything. And it's very cool.
It is. It's a massive machine. I really hope the game lives up to expectation.
Yes. I mean, there's been some stuff that I didn't really watch it. I just had a quick look, but there has been some gameplay has leaked on websites this week, and I think there was a couple of sites that had it, Eurogamer and achievements.org, but they were quite quickly taken down as well. So you kind of went back a bit later and just have a quick look, and then I went back and it was like, this has been taken down, so they but it looked fantastic. And there was also I sent you a link to them, Darren. There was the ultimate screenshots for Fallout 4 as well on a PC running in ultimate mode. They look really special, didn't they?
They did. I looked through them, and that's it for me. There's been so much Fallout 4 leak, Fallout 4 this, Fallout 4 that over the last few days. I've gone dark on it.
Yeah. It's it's that weekend before, so it is time to do that, isn't it? It's just time to kind of shut yourself away and wait for that game to arrive in the post.
Yeah. Jack Bauer levels of going dark.
And with that, that's about it for this episode. So big thank you for listening. It's a massive episode. We're kind of close on 3 hours. We won't leave you again to have this massive yarn. We will be back next week. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoftheLostSpark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. We're on YouTube. You can also find us on the PS4 Gamers of the Lost Spark community. Darren, where can people find you online?
You can get me as Wythermater on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Dazagamer on YouTube, and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That email address is feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. So that's about it. I'm going to go and wait by the letterbox for Fallout 4, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
What an epic!